Chapter 40-37. What's the point? Long Qin frowned. If mother really has no feelings for father, she will definitely divorce him if we ask her to. On the contrary, if mother has developed feelings for father after all these years, she will definitely not divorce him no matter what we say. In this way, we can test mother's true thoughts. When she sees her true thoughts, she may try to change them. Of course. We can also force her to change. She can either let go or change her ways and ask for father's forgiveness. Of course. Forcing her to change is the last plan. If she can change on her own, we can't do anything. Long Qin explained. So that's how it is. Long Qin suddenly understood. He glanced at Qin Feiyang and the other two and frowned again. What about mother's hatred for Qin Feiyang and the others? How can we solve this? There's no hurry. There's still a long way to go. There will be opportunities sooner or later. Brother Qin, don't you think so? Long Chen looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two and smiled. If she can really let it go, that's for the best. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. All right. Long Chen nodded and got up. One last thing. You have to help us keep our relationship with father a secret. The Divine Kingdom can't know about it. Isn't it better if the Divine Kingdom knows about it? When we face you in the future, no matter how bold the Divine Kingdom is, they won't dare to hurt you. We can even benefit from it. The white-eyed wolf smiled slyly. You're too naive. What if Scandinavia's courage is beyond our imagination? What if they attack us then? You have to know that in the eyes of the Divine Kingdom, we are also a good bargaining chip. Long Chen smiled bitterly. They dare. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed fiercely. Come on. They aren't even afraid of the blood oath. What are they afraid of? Long Chen shook his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. Accompany us out. All right. Qin Feiyang got up and appeared in the sky outside with the brother and sister. Long Chen waved his hand and a god's domain appeared. He smiled and said, try and see if you can replicate it. Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment before he nodded and said with a smile, okay, I've been wanting to try it for a long time. The purple gold dragon soul appeared. The eye of heaven opened, and a formless energy enveloped the god's domain. In less than 3 breaths, a god's domain appeared around Qin Feiyang. It can be replicated. Long Qin frowned. Just as I expected. Long Qin shook his head and smiled. You already expected this? Long Qin looked at him in surprise. Seeing how the eye of heaven could replicate the king's draconic penitentiary, I guessed that it could replicate my god's domain as well. As Long Chen finished speaking, the god's domain disappeared. Qin Feiyang also withdrew his fighting soul. Long Qin frowned and said, but hasn't your god's domain evolved? It's true that the god's domain has evolved, but so has the eye of heaven. For me personally, it's not good news that the god's domain can be replicated. Because this means that I won't be Qin Feiyang's opponent in the future. But for the entire sky cloud realm, it's a good thing. Because when he replicates the god's domain, it will double his strength. After Long Chen finished speaking, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Brother Qin, in the future, the sky cloud realm will have to rely on your efforts to support it. We can only assist from the side. Don't be so modest, okay? Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Long Chen's combat strength was obvious to all. Even now, he only mastered one ultimate law, but as long as he opens the god's domain, any divine arts and laws would be useless. Moreover, after this battle, when Long Chen returned to the dragon's nest, he would definitely begin to improve his strength. He casually gave Li Feng an inheritance. One could imagine how many inheritances he had in his hands. So as long as he was willing, it wouldn't take long for him to integrate with the will of heaven. Is the friendly competition still going on? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang asked. I'm not sure. When I return to the dragon's nest later, I'll go take a look. If the friendly competition continues, with the demon ancestor's strength, the first place will be easily taken. At that time, he will be able to get 3 more inheritances. The reward for the first place of the friendly competition was the inheritance of 3 ultimate laws. In second place was an ultimate profundity inheritance of a supreme law and an ultimate profundity inheritance of an ordinary law. The third place was the inheritance of 1 ultimate law. The 4th place to the 10th place would be divided into the remaining inheritance of the ultimate laws. As for the people outside the top 10, their rewards were the epitome of the laws. Originally, the reward for the first place was definitely not going to run away. But now, with such a thing happening, the friendly competition couldn't continue. With the competition interrupted, they couldn't force the inheritance of the laws from the divine kingdom. Besides, with the current relationship between the Sky Cloud realm and the divine kingdom, the other party wouldn't be willing to take it out. Then I'll leave it to you. As for me, Qin Feiyang glanced around at the broken land and sighed. It's all my fault that the Western continent has become like this, so I need to do something. Long Chen nodded and smiled. Then we'll meet again. After saying that, he opened a space-time passage and led Long Qin away. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed and returned to the tea garden. Looking at the 15 iron boxes on the table, he smiled. At least we didn't work in vain. You can keep these inheritances first. When we kill the geniuses of the divine kingdom, we can go directly to Long Qin to unlock the seal. Long Qin must have done it on purpose. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Even if she did it on purpose, so what? Don't forget. If it weren't for the help of the siblings, these 15 ultimate inheritances of the law of death would be worthless to you. And now, although there's a seal, as long as you work hard and master the will of the heavens, it's only a matter of time. So, don't be dissatisfied. Qin Feiyang picked up 4 of the iron boxes and left the Black Tortoise realm again to find Li Feng. Soon, he saw Li Feng at the top of a broken mountain. He was sitting on the ground with his head lowered, looking a little lost and helpless. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and didn't go up to disturb him. He put away the 4 iron boxes and stepped into the sky. As waves of life energy emerged, a divine lotus appeared. It was the size of a palm and had a total of 18 leaves. It was emerald green and emitted a dazzling divine light. This was the ultimate meaning of the law of life, the divine lotus of life. As soon as the divine lotus of life appeared, a majestic life energy surged in all directions like a tide. Li Feng was the first to notice it. He raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang with a puzzled expression. But soon, he saw a shocking scene. Under the nourishment of the divine lotus of life, patches of weeds and small trees rapidly grew out of the shattered earth under their feet. Moreover, as time passed, the small trees slowly grew into towering trees. In less than 100 breaths' time, the land in front of him, as far as his eyes could see, was filled with ancient trees and hundreds of flowers, full of vitality and vitality. This is the power of the law of life. Li Feng was shocked. It was many times stronger than the law of wood's ultimate meaning, withered wood rejuvenation. Moreover, this life energy was still spreading to the entire western mainland. 5 days passed. The western mainland had changed greatly. The dense vegetation covered all traces of the battle. The battle fluctuations that filled the air were also purified. At this moment, those who didn't know about the western continent would never have guessed that a fierce battle had taken place here. Vegetation and wildflowers were everywhere. It was simply a heaven-like existence. In these 5 days, Li Feng had been looking at Qin Feiyang and the changes in the western mainland. His bewildered state gradually disappeared. Yes. Even if he let go of his hatred, there were still many things he could do. For example, like Qin Dage, protecting the sky cloud realm and the people of the world. He was no longer a child. And his strength was at the peak of the sky cloud realm, so he should bear this responsibility. As for hatred, he lost to Long Qin, and Long Chen personally knelt down to apologize. Why did Long Chen do this? It was not because he was afraid of him. With Long Chen's strength, it was too easy to kill him. Long Chen did this for the sake of the people of this continent. Even Long Chen could put down his pride and kneel to him for the sake of the people of the world. Why couldn't he? That's right. In this life, one could not always be obsessed with the past. Otherwise, not only would he not be happy, but it would also affect the people around him. So now, he had let go. Let bygones be bygones. Qin Feiyang stepped in front of Li Feng and said with a smile, "It seems that you already have the answer in your heart." "Thank you, Qin Dage." Li Feng stood up and bowed. Although Qin Feiyang had not said a single word to Li Feng in the past few days, his actions were actually guiding Li Feng. He hoped that Li Feng could find the value and purpose of life from his actions. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and took out the inheritance that Long Chen gave him and the 4 iron boxes. This? Li Feng was surprised. This inheritance of the ultimate profound of the time law was given to you by Long Chen. The other 4 iron boxes were exchanged for by the siblings when they went to Ice Dragon. Qin Feiyang briefly explained the situation. Because Li Feng still did not know about these things. The divine kingdom is so despicable. Li Feng raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "You can't say that. After all, if it were you and I, we would do the same." "That's true." Li Feng nodded and looked at the 5 inheritances in front of him. He sighed and said, "I really admire Long Chen more and more. He can even let go of the hatred of the extermination of his clan. Compared to him, I feel like an ignorant child." Because Long Chen was carrying the hatred of the extermination of his clan. And the Cloud Mountain village he was in was nothing compared to the entire dragons. Long Chen could let go, but he was still trapped in the past. Compared to Long Chen's righteousness, he felt a little ashamed after waking up. Don't have such thoughts. Not only us, even Long Chen can understand your feelings. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. "Thank you." Li Feng lowered his head. Carefully thinking back to the past, it seemed that everyone had always been tolerant of him. For example, in the Nether King's Hell, he killed the innocent and absorbed the flesh and blood of living creatures. It was Qin Feiyang and the others who interceded for him that the blood demon race let him go. Later, when he entered the sky cloud realm, he killed wantonly in the northern continent. After Qin Feiyang and the others learned about it, they still tolerated him. This was all love for him. It was indeed time for him to grow up and not be so insensible anymore. The error-free chapters of Immortal God of War will continue to be updated in the hand fighting bar. There are no advertisements in the website. Please bookmark and recommend the hand fighting bar. Chapter 4038. Qin Feiyang patted Li Feng's shoulder and said with a smile, "Speaking of which, you are luckier than Demon Ancestor and the others, because the inheritance that Long Chen gave you is not sealed." Li Feng scratched his head. "However, don't let down Long Chen's expectations of you. Not only this inheritance, the other 4 great inheritances were also proposed by him to be given to you." Qin Feiyang warned. "I know." Li Feng nodded solemnly. Qin Feiyang smiled, turned around, and flew towards the sky above the Shen family village. Li Feng put away the inheritance and immediately followed. Very soon, the 2 of them arrived above the Shen family village. Although the earth had been restored to life, the village was long gone. The terrain had also changed greatly. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and an invisible force enveloped the area below, causing the mountains and rivers to tremble. He was restoring the terrain. For an expert of his level, as long as he knew what it was like before, restoring it to the past was just a matter of waving his hand. In less than a moment, the familiar terrain appeared in front of Qin Feiyang's eyes. Following closely, he landed on the ground again and called out Madman and the White-Eyed Wolf. The four of them worked together and spent half a day to personally create a brand new Shen family village. Although they were all new, the location of the village, the appearance and number of houses, as well as the layout of the village, were almost exactly the same as before. Qin Dage, you are so good to them. Li Feng laughed. People have to know how to be grateful. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Then, he buried more than a dozen spirit veins and crystal veins underground. And let the White-Eyed Wolf set up a time array that lasted 5,000 years a day. After doing all this, Qin Feiyang let the White-Eyed Wolf inform the Divine King to bring the Shen family village back. Because it was the Divine King who brought the people of the Shen family village away. At that time, the Divine King took the people of the Shen family village and fled directly to the Sea of Heavenly Clouds. After all, the battle fluctuations were too terrifying. As long as they escaped into the Sea of Heavenly Clouds, they would be truly safe. When the Ghost Divine King brought the entire village back to the Chen family village, they saw the familiar village from afar. The group of people were immediately dumbfounded. How could the Shen family village remain intact after such a terrifying battle? Furthermore, even the terrain around the village had not changed much. At the entrance of the village, Qin Feiyang, Li Feng, White-Eyed Wolf, and Lunatic stood side by side. That is, Qin Feiyang, Little Devil King Li Feng, Golden-Winged Wolf King, Madman Mo. Everyone in the village looked at the villagers standing at the entrance of the village and their faces were filled with respect. Furthermore, it seemed like he was intentionally waiting for them. What did they do to deserve this? Why would these big shots wait for him in the village? They waited for the Divine King to arrive at the village entrance. With Shen Mulan in the lead, they all knelt down and kowtowed, greetings to the four lords. Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment, then hurriedly helped Shen Mulan up, and said, Brother Shen, how long has it been? You've already become so distant. Brother Shen. Shen Mulan looked at Qin Feiyang in bewilderment. Why would he call him that? And Dazhuang, Little Jia. Qin Feiyang then looked at Shen Dazhuang and Little Jia, and laughed, you guys should get up as well. You know us. The two of them were also extremely bewildered. How can I not know you? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, everyone, get up and take a look at your new home. New home? Everyone stood up one after another and looked towards the village. Soon, they discovered that although everything was the same as before, everything was new. Moreover, the energy of the crystal vein and the energy of the soul vein in the village was also completely different from before. Shen Dazhuang and Shen Xiaojia looked at each other, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked carefully, did you build this for us? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Shen Dazhuang was immediately overwhelmed by the favor and said, how could I let you personally? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and interrupted Shen Dazhuang's words, and laughed, you guys have taken care of me for so many years, this is a small matter that I should do. Take care of? Everyone was suspicious. Why didn't they remember taking care of this person? Moreover, the other party was such a powerful person, he didn't need their care. Don't you understand? The Qin Feiyang standing in front of you is the one who has lived in your Shen family village for decades. The madman grinned. He has lived in our Shen family village for decades. When the villagers heard this, their expressions immediately became startled. It seemed that in these years, the only person who came to their Shen family village was Gu Feng. Wait. Gu Feng lived here for decades, and even took care of him. Everyone seemed to have thought of something and looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Yes. I am Gu Feng. I'm really sorry for lying to everyone for so many years. Qin Feiyang smiled apologetically. You are Gu Feng. Gu Feng is you, Lord. Shen Mulin's eyes widened. Shen Dazhuang, Shen Xiaojia, and the other villagers all looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. This big brother Gu Feng who had lived in their village for decades was actually the famous Qin Feiyang. For them, this was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded, looked at Shen Xiaojia and the group of young people behind her, and said with a smile, I watched you all grow up. Big brother Gu Feng, Qin Feiyang, Shen Xiaojia and the group of young people murmured, looking up and down at Qin Feiyang. It wasn't that they didn't believe it, but they really didn't dare to believe it. Because the difference in status was too great. In the past, although Gu Feng had shown powerful strength, he didn't look so terrifying. But Qin Feiyang was an existence that countless people respected, and he was a big shot that stood at the top of the sky cloud realm. At this moment, the man in front of them changed from Gu Feng to Qin Feiyang. Their hearts were really hard to calm down. Back then, I had some problems in cultivation, so I came out to travel the sky cloud realm alone. Later, I accidentally came to your village. Your kindness and simplicity made me stop in my tracks. From then on, I stayed in the village. I am very grateful to you. Especially Dazhuang and Xiaojia. Since the day I grew old, you have always been by my side to take care of me, clean the house, and talk to me, allowing me to have a peaceful and happy old age. Qin Feiyang slowly said, his calm tone was full of gratitude. So that's how it is. I knew it. Your strength is so strong, and you can even take out the eternal youth elixir to prolong one's life. Shen Mulin suddenly nodded. Shen Dazhuang, Shen Xiaojia, and the other people in the village also slowly accepted this fact. However, as Qin Feiyang's true identity was exposed, everyone became cautious and no longer had the same feeling as before. Don't feel restrained just because I'm Qin Feiyang. I'm still the same Gu Feng from before. There's no change. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Really? Shen Xiaojia asked carefully. N. Qin Feiyang nodded. I don't believe it. Shen Xiaojia shook her head. You don't believe it? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and smiled helplessly. Then what do I have to do to make you believe it? I don't know either. Anyway, I just feel that you're different from big brother Gu Feng. Shen Xiaojia lowered her head and muttered. Qin Feiyang looked at the little girl and asked teasingly, so, you're still a little unhappy that I've been resurrected? No. Shen Xiaojia hurriedly waved her hands and looked at Qin Feiyang, of course I'm happy. But I don't have the same feeling as before. Qin Feiyang walked forward and rubbed Shen Xiaojia's head. He looked at the villagers and smiled, I know that you guys will definitely feel some pressure when facing me now, but whether it's in the past or in the future, I will always be the Gu Feng that you guys are familiar with. In the future, you can continue to call me Gu Feng. Everyone looked at each other and a smile gradually appeared on their faces. Alright. He's Gu Feng. Cough cough. Since Lord Qin has already said so, what are we afraid of? Shen Mulin looked at the villagers and smiled. Gu Feng had long been used to calling him Gu Feng, so he couldn't hold back for a moment. Brother Shen, you should call me brother too. Qin Feiyang laughed. Shen Mulin looked at the sincere Qin Feiyang and nodded, all right, then I'll take advantage of my seniority. Don't say that. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. He glanced at the village and said, I don't know how to thank everyone for taking care of me all these years, so I took the initiative to bury more than a dozen spirit veins and crystal veins here, and also set up a time array that lasts 5,000 years a day. I hope you guys don't mind. What? A time array that lasts 5,000 years a day. The eyes of the villagers suddenly trembled. Shen Xiaojia said, Brother Gu Feng, you mean that we will live in the village for 5,000 years, but only one day will pass outside? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then I'll have to work harder in the future. Shen Xiaojia's face was full of excitement. Shen Dazhuang and the other young people in the village were also very excited. However, the older generation in the village was very calm. As expected. These things were only tempting to the younger generation of the Shen family village. The older generation did not care about these things at all. Qin Feiyang smiled, also, I've prepared some gifts for you guys. What gifts? The eyes of the group of young people lit up. Qin Feiyang smiled, took out a Qiankuan bag, and handed it to Shen Mulin. For me. Shen Mulin was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, the things inside are very important, and they need a reliable person to take care of them. What important things? Shen Mulin muttered, took the Qiankuan bag, and carefully checked for a while. He found that there were only about 100 pills of various shapes and colors in it. Shen Dazhuang and the others also surrounded it. After seeing the pills, their faces were full of doubts. Because they did not recognize a single one of these pills. Qin Feiyang said, these are all pills to open the door of potential. His words were not to be shocked to death. As soon as they heard the words, open the door of potential, the villagers were stunned. If it was not because Qin Feiyang took it out, they would not believe it even if they were beaten to death. Brother Shen, give it to me first. Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand. Okay. Shen Mulin, who was in shock, instinctively handed the Qiankuan bag to Qin Feiyang. Chapter 40-39. Qin Feiyang took out a medicinal pill and patiently explained how to use it. Because different realms required different medicinal pills. This must be explained clearly. The medicinal pills that opened the door of potential were different from other medicinal pills. If these medicinal pills were taken wrongly, they could lose their lives. A moment later. After Qin Feiyang finished explaining, he looked at Shen Mulin and smiled, Brother Shen, do you remember it? Shen Mulin looked at Qin Feiyang, slightly lost in thought. Although the face standing in front of him was not the same, Qin Feiyang's eyes at this moment, as well as the intimacy revealed, were exactly the same as the previous Gu Feng. Moreover, the dignified overlord of the Sky Cloud realm was actually so patient to explain the use of medicinal pills to them. This character was too good. Brother Shen. Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. Huh? Shen Mulin came back to his senses and looked at Qin Feiyang apologetically. I'm sorry, I was a little distracted and didn't hear it clearly. Would you like to trouble you to say it again? Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and explained in detail. There's really nothing to say about their attitude. Looking at Qin Feiyang lowering his head and seriously explaining to Shen Mulin, Li Feng couldn't help but shake his head and smile. Indeed. Madman and White-Eyed Wolf nodded. This also showed the position of the Shen family village in Qin Feiyang's heart. A moment later. Qin Feiyang finished talking again, looked at Shen Mulin and said, this time you heard it clearly. Clear, clear. Thank you. Shen Mulin nodded, his face full of gratitude. The medicinal pills that opened the door of potential, for the Shen family village, was a great fortune. No need to thank me. This is a parting gift for the young people in the village. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. You're leaving? Shen Mulin was taken aback. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Shen Xiaojia looked up at Qin Feiyang and asked in puzzlement, Brother Gu Feng, why are you leaving? Isn't our place good? It's good here. Qin Feiyang scanned the village before lowering his head to look at Shen Xiaojia and apologetically said, but I still have something important to do. I can't stay here forever. But, Shen Xiaojia mustered her courage and hugged Qin Feiyang's arm. She shook her head and said, I can't bear for you to leave. Little Jia. Shen Dazhuang glared at Shen Xiaojia and said, Gu. Qin, he didn't know what to call her now. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, just call me Qin Dage. Isn't this a little disrespectful? Shen Dazhuang asked fearfully. What are you talking about? Qin Feiyang angrily knocked on his head. Shen Dazhuang rubbed his forehead and laughed. As expected, nothing had changed. He was still the same big brother Gu Feng from before. Then he looked at Shen Xiaojia and said, Qin Dage is such a powerful person, he must have a lot of things to do. Furthermore, he still has to fight with the people of the Divine Kingdom and protect our Sky Cloud realm. How can he have time to play in the village every day? I know. But I just can't bear to. Shen Xiaojia lowered her head and muttered. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He pinched Shen Xiaojia's nose and laughed, I promise, I will come back to see you when I have time in the future. Shen Xiaojia rubbed her nose, raised her head and looked at Qin Feiyang, you said it, you can't go back on your word. Qin Feiyang nodded. But there's no need to be in such a hurry. Why don't you guys rest here for a few days? Shen Mulan looked at Qin Feiyang's group of 4 and said. That's right. It's only a few days. It won't take up too much of your time. Look, not only did you build a home for us, you also gave us such a precious gift. No matter what, we have to thank you properly. The other villagers also spoke one after another, their faces full of sincerity. Shen Dazhuang didn't say anything, but there was a hint of anticipation on his face. Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd, then turned to White-Eyed Wolf and the other 2. White-Eyed Wolf said, I really can't wait to go to the Divine Kingdom, but since everyone is so enthusiastic, why don't we rest here for a few days? That's fine too. Frenzied Wolf thought about it and nodded. In fact, he also couldn't wait to leave for the Divine Kingdom. The sooner he killed those 3 prodigies, the sooner he could integrate with the will of heaven. I'm fine with anything. Li Feng shrugged. All right then. Qin Feiyang nodded, looked at Shen Mulan and the others, and said with a smile, then I'll have to trouble everyone again. What are you talking about? We can't be happier. Everyone was full of smiles. An old man shouted, don't just stand here, quickly go back to the house and prepare a banquet to entertain our guests. Right away, right away. The group immediately ran into the village. Shen Mulan also looked at Shen Dazhuang and scolded jokingly, don't just stand there, quickly go and prepare a tea table and chairs, do you want everyone to stand and chat? Just at the entrance of the village, the scenery here is good, and the air is good. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Okay. Shen Dazhuang nodded, and quickly took out a small round table and a few small chairs made of bamboo from his cosmos ring. Sit down and chat. Shen Mulan looked at Qin Feiyang and the others and smiled. The 4 of them sat around the table. Shen Mulan accompanied them. Shen Dazhuang, Shen Xiaojia, and a group of young people and children all gathered around, looking at Qin Feiyang and the others with curiosity and admiration in their eyes. Shen Xiaojia suddenly asked, Qin Dage, there were 2 beautiful sisters, and they said they were your sister and wife, is this true? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then it's over. Shen Xiaojia's face turned pale. Shen Dazhuang was also a little frightened. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang looked at the 2 of them suspiciously. When I saw your body disappear, I thought they did something to you. So we scolded them and chased them out. Shen Xiaojia lowered her head, not daring to look at Qin Feiyang. That's it? Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. With a thought, 2 women immediately appeared next to him. They were Mermaid Princess and Fire Lotus. Greetings, lords. Shen Mulan bowed at once. You don't have to do this. Yes, we should be the ones apologizing to you. We were too abrupt at that time, and we might have scared you. Sorry. Regardless of whether it was the Mermaid Princess or the Fiery Lotus, they both behaved gracefully and politely. Don't mention it. Shen Mulan quickly waved his hand. That, Shen Xiaojia gathered her courage and walked to the 2 of them. She lowered her head and said, "Sisters, I was a little confused at that time. I really didn't mean to drive you away. I apologize to you now and admit my mistake." The two of them looked at each other and smiled. "It's okay. You're also worried about your brother Gu Feng. Besides, thanks to you and Dazhuang for taking care of him all these years, we should thank you." Mermaid Princess walked forward and gently held Shen Xiaojia's hand, comforting her softly. "You really don't blame me?" Shen Xiaojia asked timidly. "I really don't blame you." Mermaid Princess smiled. "What a cute girl. That's good." Shen Xiaojia heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "Then can I call you sister-in-law?" "Of course." Mermaid Princess nodded. "Then can I call you sister?" Shen Xiaojia looked at Fire Lotus again. "Yes." Fire Lotus smiled. Next. Mermaid Princess and Fire Lotus did not return to the Black Tortoise realm either. Madman and White-Eyed Wolf also called Zhuo Shaoxian and Fire Dance out. Everyone had been cultivating all this time, and when they were fighting against the Scandinavian kingdom, everyone had been tensed up, so they could take this opportunity to relax. The enthusiasm and kindness of the villagers quickly moved them. Now they finally understood why Qin Feiyang liked this small village so much. It was because the people here had the most simple side. During this period, with the help of Qin Feiyang and the others, Shen Xiaojia successfully opened the first few doors of potential. Because her cultivation just happened to be at the 9-Star War sect. Seeing the doors of potential successfully open, the entire village was overjoyed. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. In addition to the 5 days that Qin Feiyang spent to repair the western continent, 12 days had passed since the battle with the king and the others. The creatures of the western continent had all returned, including the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. And now everyone knew about the battle between Qin Feiyang and the others and the Divine Kingdom. As expected. Knowing these things, especially knowing that the king was defeated by Qin Feiyang, the morale of the Sky Cloud realm instantly soared by a large margin. Now in the Sky Cloud realm, everyone was no stranger to the king. He was the ruler of the Divine Kingdom, the strongest. But now, even the strongest person of the Divine Kingdom was defeated by Qin Feiyang. Didn't that mean that the Sky Cloud realm already had the capital to contend with the Divine Kingdom? So, not only the morale, but the fame and prestige of Qin Feiyang and the others also increased once again. In the past, the most prestigious people in the Sky Cloud realm were the Feather Emperor, Xue Zhu, Little Rabbit, Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Master. But now, it had become Qin Feiyang and the others. The older generation like the Feather Emperor couldn't hide their brilliance. In addition, the Divine Kingdom didn't make any other movements in the past 10 days. And the friendly competition in the land of the buried gods had also stopped. The hundreds of thousands of young talents of the Divine Kingdom had already returned to the Divine Kingdom under the leadership of Old Wu that day. Perhaps from the beginning, they didn't intend to take out these so-called rewards. It was completely a bait to lure Mu Tianyang and the others out. On this day, Qin Feiyang and the others gathered together with the villagers and had a happy breakfast. Then it was time to say goodbye. No one forced Qin Feiyang and the others to stay. Because they all knew that this group of people were carrying a heavy responsibility on their shoulders. Moreover, they were protecting the entire Sky Cloud realm, not just the Shen family village. After watching Qin Feiyang and the others leave, Shen Mulin shook his head and sighed. I really didn't expect that our Shen family village would have such luck to meet such a noble person. Yes. The elders of the village were filled with emotion. Little Jia, you must work hard. Not to mention anything else, they helped you open the door of potential. You can't let them down. Shen Xiaojia's parents looked at Shen Xiaojia very seriously and reminded her. I will. Shen Xiaojia nodded. Dazhuang, you have to work hard too. And you guys, Shen Mulan looked at the youngsters in the village and said, "In the past, I didn't dare to think about it. But now, it's different. We have our own spirit veins and crystal veins. We have a time array that lasts 5,000 years a day. We also have a divine pill that can open the door of potential. I hope that all of you can work hard and become people like Qin Feiyang and the others in the future." Yes. The group of young people led by Shen Dazhuang roared one after another. Shen Mulan nodded, then glanced at everyone in the village and said in a deep voice, "There's one more thing that you must remember. No one can leak out the time array and the divine pill that opens the door of potential. Even if someone threatens you with their life, you must rot in your stomach." Understood. The villagers nodded one after another. Everyone understood the principle of being guilty of possessing a treasure. Chapter 40. Demon Palace. After the great battle, peace was restored here. Suddenly, a space-time tunnel appeared. Qin Feiyang and the others walked out. Seeing this familiar scene, they couldn't help but smile. Qin Feiyang. Madman. Golden-winged Wolf King. The great elder guarding the gate was overjoyed when he saw Qin Feiyang and the others. He immediately left the barrier and greeted them. "Greetings, great elder." Qin Feiyang bowed. "Sir, don't, I can't accept it." The great elder waved his hand in fear. The strong were respected. Although Qin Feiyang, Madman, and the ingrate were disciples of the Devil Palace in name, with their current status, not to mention him, the first elder, even the palace master, Elder Hua, and Chu Yun would have to greet them respectfully. "Why are you so tacky? Just like before, just call us by our names." "Sir, this kind of address is really not suitable for us, it's too polite." Qin Feiyang smiled. The great elder looked at Qin Feiyang, who had a sincere face, and suddenly shook his head and laughed. As expected. No matter how strong these young people became, their personalities wouldn't change at all. Isn't that so? Back then, they personally promised that no matter what, they would always be disciples of the Demon Palace. As the great elder of the Demon Palace, how can you bow to your disciples? Accompanied by a hoarse laugh, Elder Hua, Hall Master, and Chu Yun walked up to the sky step by step with a smile in their eyes. Hearing this, the great elder shook his head and smiled bitterly. In the current sky cloud realm, only Elder Hua and the others dared to be so unrestrained in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. "Master." Fire Lotus walked up. Good. Elder Hua nodded with a smile on his face. At this moment, many disciples had already heard the news and came out. When they saw Fire Lotus calling Master Hua, their faces were filled with surprise. Elder Hua actually took in a disciple. Moreover, so beautiful. She was like a goddess. Suddenly, everyone then noticed the mermaid princess beside Qin Feiyang, and they were stunned at first sight. She should be Qin Feiyang's wife. So beautiful. This senior brother Qin really has good luck with women. And Fire Dance. She's still an outstanding beauty. Wait. Why does the woman standing beside senior brother Feng Zi look so familiar? Are you blind? That's Xue Tianqing's daughter, Xue Shaoxian. Back then, because of Xue Shaoxian, they caused quite a stir in the eastern continent. Right. That's her. I was wondering why she looked so familiar. I remember back then, she was still a little girl. I didn't expect that she would become so beautiful now. Just kidding. Do you think our senior brother Crazy would take a fancy to an ordinary woman? Everyone discussed in low voices. He had heard of it. Madman grinned, looked at Xue Shaoxian, and said proudly, "You bitch, did you hear that? It's your fortune to be with me. Is that so?" Xue Shaoxian looked at him with a smile. Her hand, which was hidden by her side, was mercilessly grabbing Madman's arm. Madman gritted his teeth in pain. However, under the watchful eyes of everyone, he could only desperately endure it. Elder Hua saw everything with his eyes. He wanted to laugh in his heart. The reincarnation of the Blood Demon King was actually so afraid of his wife. However, it was good that someone was controlling him. Cough, cough. Elder Hua coughed dryly and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. He said with a smile, "It's not easy for you to come back. You have to take good care of these junior brothers and sisters." "What do you mean?" Madman looked at Elder Hua suspiciously. "Don't play dumb." Elder Hua rolled his eyes at him. "I'm not playing dumb. I really don't know what you mean." Madman frowned. "Nonsense. Of course I'm imparting the Tao and explaining the secrets of the ultimate profound meaning to everyone." Elder Hua was speechless. "Wait." Madman quickly interrupted Elder Hua and said angrily, "Didn't I explain it last time? Wasn't that a few decades ago?" Elder Hua said with a smile. "Is there a difference?" Madman rolled his eyes. Imparting the Tao was really tiring. Even if he was beaten to death, he did not want to do it a second time. "Senior brother Madman, you can't do this. We've been looking forward to your arrival." "Yes. Although you guys explained it very carefully last time, there are still many questions that I don't understand. Why don't you guys talk about it again?" The disciples below were all eager. Not to mention the disciples of the Demon Hall, even the management and elders were looking forward to it. "This matter, little Qin Zi, you've already comprehended the ultimate profound meaning of the law of life and death. You go." Madman pulled Zhuo Shaoxian and was about to leave. "Where are we going?" White-Eyed Wolf grabbed him. Cough, cough. Madman coughed and said, "We're going to the Western continent to visit father-in-law." "I'm going too. I haven't seen Zhuo Tianxing and Lu Jingyuan for so many years. I really miss them." White-Eyed Wolf opened a space-time tunnel, then pulled their women and ran in without looking back. Looking at this scene, the corner of Elder Hua's mouth kept twitching. Wasn't it just imparting the Tao? Why did it look like they were going to the execution ground? The disciples below also had a trace of disappointment on their faces. "Young master." At this moment, Pei Tianhong and the others flew up. Looking at this group of people, Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with gratification. He smiled and said, "I heard that you guys have improved a lot these years." "Not bad." Wang Changyuan scratched his head. "Young master. Will the friendly competition continue?" The second commander asked suspiciously. "Probably not." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "How can this be?" Hearing this, the second commander said angrily, "With the demon ancestor's strength, he can definitely get first place and obtain the inheritance of the 3 strongest laws. The divine kingdom is so shameless. What can you do?" Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. "I'm not strong enough. If I'm strong enough, see how I'll settle the score with them." The second commander snorted. Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment, then gave him a thumbs up and praised, "You're ambitious." "I'm joking. Don't take it seriously. With my little strength, it's not enough to fill the gaps between their teeth." The second commander laughed embarrassedly. Feiyang, Frenzy and White-Eyed Wolf ran away. "You can't run away again. Look at the junior brothers and sisters below, they're still looking forward to it." Elder Hua looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and looked. The disciples standing inside the barrier were indeed looking at him with anticipation. However, the ultimate profound meaning he had grasped was not comprehensive enough. Moreover, if he continued to explain like this, it would indeed take too much time. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang looked at Elder Hua and asked, "Does the Demon Palace have an inheritance place?" "No." Elder Hua shook his head. I have an idea. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then looked at Elder Hua, Chu Yun, and the palace master and said, "If you guys don't object, I suggest that we build a place of inheritance in the demon palace. At that time, we can seal our understanding and insights of the various laws and profound meanings in the place of inheritance." That's a good idea. The three of them looked at each other and their eyes lit up. Qin Feiyang laughed, "This way, not only will we be able to save time, the demon palace will also be able to continue to be passed down in the future." "I agree." Elder Hua nodded. "I agree too." Chu Yun said. This was because using this method of inheritance was even more useful than imparting knowledge. No matter how detailed you were when imparting knowledge, there were still many things that were difficult to understand. After all, there was an old saying that went like this: it could only be understood but not explained. However, if one used the method of inheritance to pass down their insights and understanding of the laws and profound meanings to others, it would be different. This was because these insights contained your comprehension of the laws. For example, the ultimate profound meaning of the laws of life and death. If it wasn't for the divine king of primal chaos passing down his insights to him, he probably wouldn't have been able to get started. Then let's get moving. Little Yun, immediately bring people to the back of the mountain to build the place of inheritance. This is the first place of inheritance of our demon palace. We have to do it well and make it look grand. Elder Hua smiled. Okay. Chu Yun nodded and shouted, 9 elders, follow me to the back of the mountain. Whoosh! Immediately, 9 figures soared into the sky and followed Chu Yun to the back of the mountain. Did everyone hear that? Our demon palace is about to have our own place of inheritance. And the place of inheritance that we build will be even more glorious than the places of inheritance of the 3 races in the future. Because at that time, with the help of your senior brother Qin, you will have all the insights of the various profound meanings and ultimate meanings. So you must work hard and not let down your senior brother Qin's efforts. Elder Hua looked at the disciples below and shouted. Yes. The disciples below were all excited. All right, then let's disperse. Don't crowd here. Go and improve your own strength. After all, there are conditions to enter the place of inheritance. As for what the conditions are, after this old man and the palace master decide on it, we will immediately let the elders announce it. Elder Hua chuckled. There are conditions. Everyone looked at each other. Of course there are conditions. After all, our demon palace's resources are limited. So you must work hard for this opportunity. Elder Hua said. Understood. The disciples nodded and then looked at Qin Feiyang. They bowed and said, Thank you, senior brother Qin. Qin Feiyang smiled and waved his hand, No need to thank me. I only hope that in the future, everyone can contribute more to the sky cloud realm. After all, you are disciples of the demon palace and must shoulder the responsibility of protecting the world. We will definitely work hard. Everyone replied respectfully. Then follow us down for a walk. It seems that after so many years, you have never officially stepped into our demon palace. Elder Hua looked at Qin Feiyang, Mermaid Princess, Fire Lotus, and Li Feng. Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment. He carefully recalled the past and smiled, Indeed, we have never entered the demon palace. Then let's go. Elder Hua smiled. After training outside for so long, it's about time. Return to the Black Tortoise world and enter seclusion. I hope that in this seclusion, you will be able to comprehend an ultimate law. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Pei Tianhong and the others. All right. Pei Tianhong nodded. An ultimate law, they were also looking forward to it. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the group back to the Black Tortoise world. He then led the Mermaid Princess, Li Feng, and Fire Lotus into the Demon Palace with Elder Hua and the Palace Master. Chapter 40-41. As the overlord of the Eastern Continent, the demonic hall was huge and majestic. It was divided into 5 regions: outer, inner, core, elders' hall, and back mountain. The outer, inner, and core regions were where the disciples lived. The elders' hall was where the elders of the demonic hall lived. There were many elders in the demonic hall. The strongest were the 10 elders. Below them were the enforcement elders, deacon elders, and so on. There were tens of thousands of deacon elders in the demonic hall. They were in charge of the daily affairs of the demonic hall. The back mountain was the demonic hall's forbidden area. Since the demonic hall's herb fields, spirit veins, crystal veins, and treasury were all in the back mountain, apart from Elder Hua, the hall master, Chu Yun, and the first elder, even the 9 elders had to be approved to enter the back mountain. Elder Hua and the hall master usually guarded the back mountain. Of course. There was also the demonic hall's sovereign divine weapon. Following Elder Hua and the hall master, Qin Feiyang and the others entered the core disciple region. These core disciples were usually arrogant, but when they saw Qin Feiyang and the others, their eyes were filled with respect. They bowed from afar. There are more than 1 million core disciples in the demonic hall. Now, there are more than 1,000 core disciples who have comprehended the supreme profundity. Elder Hua chuckled. His face was filled with relief. Thinking back, they and the elders were the only ones who had comprehended the supreme profundity in the demonic hall. Not a single disciple had comprehended the supreme profundity. Not bad. Qin Feiyang smiled. It's all thanks to you. If it weren't for Frenzy and the others who came to impart knowledge, I'm afraid there wouldn't be a single core disciple now. Elder Hua shook his head. This is what we should do. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Also, ever since the Rogue Cultivator Alliance moved to the Western Continent, the Demonic Hall has become the only overlord of the Eastern Continent. Due to your influence, the young people of the Eastern Continent have been aiming to enter the Demonic Hall. To be able to become a disciple of the Demonic Hall is something that brings honor to your ancestors. Elder Hua shook his head. Our influence? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Not bad. You guys are disciples of our Devil Hall. Now that you guys are famous, our Devil Hall will naturally benefit from it. It's not just us from the Eastern Continent. The youths from the Southern Continent and the Northern Continent are all fighting to enter our Devil Hall. So now, the number of disciples in our Devil Hall has already reached 60 to 70 million. If not for the fact that the demonic palace is already unable to accommodate all of them, there would probably be over 100 million disciples by now. Elder Hua smiled bitterly. Just because of Qin Feiyang and the other 2, their demon hall had reached an unprecedented level of glory. There's no need to be so exaggerated. Qin Feiyang, the mermaid princess, Fire Lotus, and Li Feng looked at each other and shook their heads with a bitter smile. I'm not exaggerating at all. It's not just our Devil Hall. It's the same for the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Because you and Madman are the personal disciples of the Vice Alliance leader and the Hall of the Exalted Hall Master. In short, right now, the prestige of the few of you has practically surpassed that of the Feather Emperor and the others. Elder Hua was filled with emotions. How many years had it been? It was hard to believe that he had actually grown to such an extent. Thinking back to the past. When Qin Feiyang and the others had just entered the Sky Cloud realm, whether it was the Demonic Palace or the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, there were many young people who were more powerful than them. For example, Yi Tian. Back then, he was a recognized genius in the Eastern Continent. But now, he had been left far behind by Qin Feiyang and the others. He didn't even have the chance to eat dust. There were even many young people who were stronger than Qin Feiyang and the others back then who were still worried about stepping into the Great Perfection Sovereign Realm and the Great Perfection Sovereign Realm. Qin Feiyang asked, what about the Divine Palace and the Sky Palace? Although He Zhongtian and the others have already joined you, they haven't developed as well as our demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance. Elder Hua shook his head. The Hall Master smiled and said, "It's not that they haven't developed as well as us, but they're declining." Declining? Qin Feiyang was taken aback. That's right. The young people from the northern and southern continents have all racked their brains to join our demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance. Naturally, the divine palace and the sky palace have lost a lot of talents. Do you know what's the most important thing for forces like us? That's fresh blood. Without fresh blood, it's only a matter of time before we perish. Because of this, He Zhongtian and the others have come to talk to us more than once, asking us if we can give them a way out. Actually, our demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance aren't willing to see the sky palace and the divine palace become like this. But there's nothing we can do. If the young people from the two continents want to join us, we can't even stop them. If their talents are ordinary, we can still reject them. But if they're talented young people, how can we reject them? Who can bear to reject them? The Hall Master shook his head, his face filled with helplessness. Indeed. Who doesn't want geniuses? But if this continues, the four continents will lose their balance sooner or later. Once the balance is broken, disputes and battles will follow. It wasn't easy for the Sky Cloud realm to unite. We can't let it go to waste like this. Qin Feiyang was a little worried. We know that. But we have to respect the young people's decision. Since they chose our demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance, there's no reason to chase them away. This will make us seem too arrogant and unreasonable. Elder Hua said. Upon hearing this, Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "This is indeed a problem that needs to be solved as soon as possible. It's actually very easy to solve." The mermaid princess pondered for a while and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Qin Feiyang turned to look at the mermaid princess. The reason why the young people from the southern and northern continents give up what's near and seek what's far away is because they feel that the demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance are very close to you. Joining the demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance will give them more opportunities and opportunities. The mermaid princess analyzed in an orderly manner. Yes. That's what they think. Elder Hua nodded. The mermaid princess smiled and said, "To break this phenomenon, we just need to build a land of inheritance in the divine palace and the sky palace." That's right. Qin Feiyang slapped his head and looked at Elder Hua and the Hall Master. He smiled and said, "If all four forces have their own land of inheritance, then they won't have to give up what's near and seek what's far away." The two of them looked at each other and pondered for a while before nodding and saying, "That's true. But what if they insist on coming for you? After all, your relationship with the demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance is the biggest reason. In other words, they're here because they admire you." If that's the case, the mermaid princess pondered for a while before looking at Qin Feiyang and saying, "At most, you can just hold a nominal position in the divine palace and the sky palace." Nominal position? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. For example, the deputy hall master. When you go to the divine palace and the sky palace and hold the position of deputy hall master, won't this problem be solved? The mermaid princess smiled. Qin Feiyang looked at the mermaid princess in a daze and said with a smile, "Pretty smart. This is a good idea." The mermaid princess blushed slightly. "I object." Elder Hua immediately said. "Huh?" Qin Feiyang and the mermaid princess looked at Elder Hua in confusion. "In the demonic palace and the rogue cultivator alliance, you're disciples. If you go to the sky palace and the divine palace, you'll become deputy hall masters. The difference between a disciple and a deputy hall master is not small. At that time, everyone will think that you'll focus on the sky palace and the divine palace. Then, the young people from the eastern and western continents might go to the sky palace and the divine palace." Elder Hua said. Qin Feiyang was stunned when he heard this. He frowned and said, "Wait, do we really have such great prestige now?" "Nonsense. Go outside and take a look. You're the wind vane now." Elder Huo was helpless. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that there would be such a problem. "Then how about this?" Li Feng looked at Qin Feiyang and suggested, "You, Brother Feng Zi, and Brother Wolf will have a nominal position in the Divine Palace, Sky Palace, Demonic Palace, and the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. I think you'll be Deputy Hall Masters since you don't care about anything anyway." "That's fine." Mermaid Princess and Fire Lotus agreed. "All right. As long as we can maintain the balance of the 4 continents." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Since that's the case, I'll just be an honorary Hall Master." "An honorary Hall Master will have to listen to me in the future." "How embarrassing." The Hall Master chuckled. "What else can I say? As long as you're happy." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. "You're still not happy. Although you're just an honorary Hall Master, your position is above mine. You'll go from a disciple to an honorary Hall Master. That's a meteoric rise." Elder Hua pouted. Yes. I'm honored." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Brat." Elder Hua scolded jokingly. He then turned to look at the Hall Master and smiled. "I'll go look for He Zhongtian and ask them to start building a land of legacy." "I'll go. You stay and accompany them." The Hall Master smiled. "You're the Hall Master. How can I let you do it personally?" Elder Hua waved his hand. "Can you not laugh at me? In terms of seniority, I'm your junior." The Hall Master shook his head. He looked at Qin Feiyang and the others and smiled. "Do as you wish." "All right." Qin Feiyang nodded. In fact, the biggest reason was that Elder Hua was very familiar with Qin Feiyang and the others. After touring the demonic palace, Elder Hua led Qin Feiyang and the others into the forbidden area at the back of the mountain. The mountains were stacked and the vegetation was lush. In the mountains, there were tens of thousands of herb fields of various sizes. Every herb was at least 10,000 years old. They were overflowing with light and auspicious qi. The energy of the crystal veins and spirit veins turned into white mist and filled the mountains. It made this place look like a paradise. So many. Li Feng looked at this scene in shock. There are so many disciples. If we don't get more, how can it be enough for them? Elder Hua shook his head. Li Feng frowned. It's a little difficult to establish a force. It's not difficult to establish it, but it's difficult to defend it. Qin Feiyang smiled. That's right. It's just like a family business. It's not difficult to build a family business. For example, as long as we want to, we can easily build a huge family business. However, to protect this family business, we have to put in a lot of effort. In short, it's tiring. Fire Lotus shook his head. Chapter 40-42. When Qin Feiyang heard this, he turned to look at Fire Lotus and teased, "Are you indirectly complaining to me? Why should I complain to you?" Fire Lotus looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said, "Helping me manage the Black Tortoise world, isn't that the same as helping me protect my family business? If I really thought it was hard, I would have quit long ago. Would you chase me out of the Black Tortoise world? Let's talk about it later. Isn't it Pai Lupi and Theta Wang managing it now? I have more free time than anyone else." Fire Lotus could not help but roll her eyes. Qin Feiyang laughed heartily. It had been a long time since they had gathered together and had a good chat. Not long after, Qin Feiyang and the others finished touring the back mountain and saw the land of inheritance that was being built at the center of the back mountain. Elder Hua's residence was at the peak of the mountain next to it. In other words, the land of inheritance was right under Elder Hua's nose. At the peak of the mountain, there was a simple and unadorned building. It was 2 stories tall and had been there for many years. However, it was very clean and neat. Outside the building, there was a courtyard where various precious herbs were planted. One could smell a strong medicinal fragrance from afar. Elder Hua led them into the courtyard. At the side of the courtyard, there was a stone table and 6 stone stools. The herbs around them swayed in the wind and were full of vitality. They sat around the table. Qin Feiyang took out the ancient dragon god tea and tea set. As he brewed the tea, he scanned the courtyard and smiled, "Your place is not bad." "It's not bad, but it lacks a bit of personality. It's too calm." Elder Hua chuckled. "Understood." Qin Feiyang nodded. "What do you understand?" Elder Hua looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled, "Aren't you saying this because you want us to drink tea and chat with you more often in the future?" Elder Hua laughed and said, "You know me well, but speaking of which, what are your plans next?" Next, Qin Feiyang brewed the tea and poured them out one by one. Then, he picked up the teacup and tasted it while muttering to himself. Elder Hua and the others also picked up their teacups and drank as they silently watched Qin Feiyang. A short while later, Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "To the divine kingdom." She really wouldn't stop until she was shocked to death. When Elder Hua heard this, his arm trembled slightly, and the tea in the cup spilled out. Go to the divine kingdom? Wasn't that just courting death? Although Qin Feiyang could defeat the king, who knew how many old antiques there were in the divine kingdom? I understand your concerns. But now, we have no choice but to go. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. Why must I go? Could it be that someone has been captured by the divine kingdom and needs your rescue? Elder Hua was bewildered. That's not it. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile, "In the battle with the king, I obtained the inheritance of 15 ultimates, but, at that moment." Qin Feiyang explained the situation in detail. Elder Hua was stunned when he heard this. Although everyone was talking about how Qin Feiyang defeated the monarch, who would have known that it would be so tragic? In other words, you have to go to the divine kingdom and kill the skyprides to get these inheritances? After calming down, Elder Hua asked. That's right. Qin Feiyang nodded. If we can really get these inheritances and create a few experts who can integrate with the will of heaven, our sky cloud realm's chances of winning will indeed increase a lot. But it's too dangerous. If you go, it's tantamount to sending sheep to the tiger's den. Why don't you go to Long Chen and Long Qin and ask them to help you break the seal? Elder Hua frowned. That's impossible. At that time, White-Eyed Wolf had already asked Long Qin for help. Moreover, this is Ice Dragon's order. Long Chen and Long Qin don't dare to go against it. All these years, the siblings have already done enough for the Sky Cloud realm. We can't make things difficult for them. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Elder Hua was also a reasonable person. Since Qin Feiyang said so, the Long Chen siblings must have their own difficulties. As a person, one shouldn't make things difficult for others just to make things easier for oneself. That was immoral. All right. No matter what you do, this old man will support you, but you must be careful. Elder Hua warned. Although no one had been to the divine kingdom before, it was obvious that it was a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. If one wasn't careful, they might fall into eternal damnation. Qin Feiyang nodded. Let's not talk about these annoying things. Elder Hua waved his hand and looked at Li Feng with a smile. Look, your Qin Dage, Brother Feng Zi, and Wolf King have all found their other halves. What about you? Ah. Li Feng was stunned. In the next moment, his face couldn't help but turn red. He didn't expect Elder Hua to suddenly ask such a question. Elder Hua said, my demon palace still has many outstanding girls. Do you want this old man to take care of them for you? Ah. Li Feng was stunned. When he came back to his senses, he quickly waved his hand and said, no need, no need. I've never thought about this. Besides, isn't Sister Fire Lotus still single? As her master, you should take care of things for her. Brat, you even learned how to shift the blame. Fire Lotus glared at Li Feng. Li Feng chuckled. But when Elder Hua heard this, he immediately patted his head and looked at Fire Lotus. Yes, this old man forgot about you. No, this old man must take care of her. Cough, cough. Fire Lotus coughed and said helplessly, Master, can you stop thinking about it? Why do you always think about it? This old man has dedicated his life to the demon palace and has no children. As this old man's disciple, whether or not this old man can help my little grandson depends on you. Elder Hua said. This, senior sister Chu Yun is also your disciple, right? You should go find her. Fire Lotus also quickly changed the topic. Her. Forget it. Just like this old man, she's also devoted to the demon palace. So I still have to count on you. However, in the entire Sky Cloud realm, there's really no one who's worthy of this old man's clever disciple. This girl is too outstanding, and that's also a problem. Elder Hua shook his head, his face full of worry. Fire Lotus was speechless. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, actually, I agree. You're also fooling around. Fire Lotus's face darkened. Is this fooling around? Look at your age, you're old enough to be my ancestor. I'm already married, but you're still single. What's wrong with that? Qin Feiyang laughed. Who's your ancestor? Get lost. Fire Lotus rolled her eyes at him. Li Feng nodded seriously and said, but really, there's really no one in the Sky Cloud realm who's worthy of Big Sister Fire Lotus. What big? Call me Big Sister. Fire Lotus glared at him. Ha, Li Feng laughed dryly. Mermaid Princess suddenly said, Long Chen and that mysterious young man should be good, right? Sister-in-law, are you fooling around too? Fire Lotus felt powerless. Why couldn't she turn the question around when it came to her? I'm worried about you. Mermaid Princess grabbed Fire Lotus's hand. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded. Long Chen is definitely a good person. As for that young man, I don't know his identity yet, so I'm a little worried. But Long Chen is Ice Dragon's son. I'm afraid, Li Feng was a little worried. He's Ice Dragon's son, but he is him, and Ice Dragon is Ice Dragon. We're not unreasonable people. We won't vent our anger on Ice Dragon on him. Qin Feiyang shook his head. If that's what you want to say, then I have no objections. Li Feng smiled. I beg you, can you stop? Fire Lotus couldn't help it. If they continued to talk like this, she was afraid that she would have to bring gifts to propose marriage. Wait. Propose marriage? That's not right. I'm a woman. If you want to propose marriage, it should be a man. Come and propose marriage for me. What are you thinking? Propose marriage? Why don't you just go straight to the bridal chamber? What nonsense. Okay. I won't talk about it anymore. When you meet someone who can make you fall in love at first sight, we'll talk about it seriously. Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at Elder Hua. It's all thanks to the people from the Shen family village that I was able to comprehend the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death. In the future, if there are any youngsters from the Shen family village who enter the Devil Hall, please take care of them. Is the Shen family village very big? Elder Hua was doubtful. Not big, only about 100 households. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then the chances of them entering the Devil Hall must be very small. Because the Rogue Cultivator Alliance is in the Western mainland. If they want to go, they'll go to the Western mainland. However, if they really come, I'll see what I can do. However, if this person is treacherous, cunning, and wicked beyond redemption, then this old man will not give you any face. Elder Hua said. Of course. For the good, we have to protect. But if he's evil, he must be eliminated. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. It seems that you haven't lost your principles because of your gratitude. Elder Hua smiled. My principles can't be changed at any time. Qin Feiyang smiled and lowered his head to look at the land of legacy. Chu Yun and the 9 elders should be able to build it in the evening. After pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang looked at Li Feng and said, Go to the dragons, Feng people, and Kirin clan. Why? Li Feng was doubtful. Didn't Elder Hua boast to his disciples that when the land of legacy is completed, it will have everything, be it the ultimate meaning or the ultimate meaning? We can't let him lose face in front of his disciples. So, go and invite the reclusive old antiques of the 3 major clans. Ask them to do us a favor and leave their insights and understandings here. Remember, you must invite all 3 major clans. However, you can't invite the same person. Qin Feiyang smiled. Among these reclusive old antiques, there must be someone who had grasped the same ultimate meaning. Therefore, in such a situation, just one person was enough. I see. Li Feng nodded in realization, but then he frowned and said, But now, I don't think we need their help. We basically all have ultimate laws. As for ordinary laws, Li Zhongsheng, Xiao Shui, Old Poison, Pei Tianhong, Wang Changyuan, the various commanders, the demon ancestor, and Mu Qing all have grasped the ultimate meaning of ordinary laws. As long as we invite everyone here, it shouldn't be too far off. There was really no need to invite the old antiques of the 3 major clans. At that time, he would owe them a favor. Of course, I know this. I have other intentions for inviting the 3 major clans here. Qin Feiyang smiled. What intentions? Li Feng was suspicious. The mermaid princess and the others also looked at him curiously. Now that I have comprehended the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death and defeated the king, they must be even more afraid of me. So, I want to take this opportunity to build a relationship with them. And this time, allowing them to come here and leave behind their knowledge of inheritance is also a good thing that will be passed down for generations. Who knows, they might even thank me. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Build a relationship? Li Feng was slightly stunned and puzzled. Is that necessary? Do we still need to ask them for anything now? I don't think so. It seems that they are the ones who are asking us. You can't say that. The atmosphere can't be too tense. The heritage of the 3 major clans is still very terrifying. We can't underestimate them. Moreover, we still need them to continue to contribute to the heavenly cloud divine treasury in the future. Qin Feiyang smiled. So, you are thinking about their treasury. Li Feng chuckled and opened a space-time passage. Qin Feiyang said, Be polite. After all, we are asking for their help. Also, ask the old ancestor, the Feather Emperor, to come. It seems that he is the only one in the heavenly cloud realm who has grasped the ultimate meaning of the law of nothingness. Okay. Chapter 40-43. You've really helped me gain face. I'm afraid that after this, the 3 major races will have to give me some face in the future. Elder Hua chuckled. This is also my other intention. We want the antiques of the 3 major races to see my relationship with you with their own eyes. This way, they won't dare to cause trouble in the demon hall in the future. Even if they have such thoughts, they won't dare to do it openly. Qin Feiyang smiled. Thank you. Although Elder Hua had a lot to say in his heart, he couldn't say it out loud. He could only express his gratitude. Although the demon hall had helped Qin Feiyang and the others in the past, with the care that Qin Feiyang and the others had given the demon hall over the years, they could have repaid it long ago. But now, Qin Feiyang was still selflessly helping them. How could such a young man not be liked? In the evening, the land of inheritance was finally completed. A giant mountain over 1,000 zhang tall was slashed in half. The flat ground was paved with black bricks, with stone statues standing on them. What's the meaning of this? Elder Hua led Qin Feiyang and the others to the land of inheritance and looked at the stone statues with suspicion. There were probably at least 20 stone statues in the shape of humans. But the strange thing was that these stone statues didn't have faces. Chu Yun walked over and wiped the sweat from her forehead. She explained, this is to make it easier to distinguish them in the future. Each stone statue here only seals the insights of one type of law because I feel that it's a little messy to put them all together. This arrangement is not bad. Separate the seal and it's clear at a glance. In the future, when the disciples of the demon hall come to the land of inheritance, they can directly walk to the corresponding stone statue and receive the inheritance of the law insights. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. It's good. Elder Hua nodded and mumbled. He asked suspiciously, then why don't these stone statues have faces? I don't know who will come later to leave behind the law insights, so I didn't carve the faces of the stone statues for the time being. Chu Yun said. Why must there be faces? Li Feng looked at Elder Hua and Chu Yun suspiciously. This is definitely necessary. At the very least, I have to let the disciples know who left behind these insights. Only then will they be grateful and remember. Elder Hua said. I agree. Because this will satisfy the vanity of those old antiques of the three races even more. Leaving their idols here will definitely make them happier. Qin Feiyang smiled. I also saved one for you. Chu Yun brought Qin Feiyang to the center of the land of inheritance. There was a particularly tall stone statue here. It was much taller than the other stone statues. Furthermore, the other several tens of stone statues were all surrounding this one stone statue. It was like a king standing in the center, looking down on the crowd. Qin Feiyang looked at the stone statue, and the corner of his mouth twitched. Don't tell me that this was specially prepared for me. Of course. Chu Yun nodded. That won't do. The Feather Emperor will come later. How would my stone statue dare to stand in the center? Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. If his stone statue stood in the center, and the stone statues of the Feather Emperor and the others stood around, wouldn't it show that he was the leader? You're afraid of this? Chu Yun covered her mouth and laughed. You still have to respect your elders. Qin Feiyang wiped his sweat. He was just a junior. How could he be qualified to stand in the center of the land of inheritance? Chu Yun said, it's good that you have such thoughts. However, your life and death law is the most powerful law in the world. It should be at the center. No. Absolutely not. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and glanced at the land of inheritance. He pointed at a stone statue in the corner and said, this one. Don't carve my face on it because I'm not those old antiques of the three races. I don't have such vanity. I'm impressed. Okay, as you wish. Chu Yun nodded. Others would be overjoyed to encounter such a good thing, but this kid was not willing to do so. Buzz. At this moment, a space-time passage opened in the sky, and a group of people walked out. The leader was the Feather Emperor. The four guardian beasts were also there. Frenzy, White-Eyed Wolf, Fire Dance, and Zhuo Shaoxian also followed. As for the others, there were the old antiques of the Feng people, the Qilin race, and the dragons. They were all very familiar faces. I'm sorry to trouble you all to come here personally. Elder Hua, Chu Yun, and the 9 elders immediately went up with an apologetic face. One had to know. These people in front of them were either overlords or patriarchs of their races. It was difficult to meet them normally, let alone come to help. Moreover, they left behind their insights. Even the juniors of their races couldn't get their hands on the insights of laws. Although the Demon Hall was the overlord of the Eastern continent, it was not worth mentioning compared to the three races. If they were to invite them to the Demon Hall, they would be disdainful even if they were to invite them to the Demon Hall. You're welcome. The Feather Emperor waved his hand and looked down at Qin Feiyang. He scolded with a smile, "You little rascal, you're too good at torturing people. It hasn't been long since you imparted your knowledge, and now you're here for the land of inheritance. This is for the good of the Sky Cloud realm." Qin Feiyang smiled. "If we didn't know that you're doing this for the good of the Sky Cloud realm, do you think we would come?" The Feather Emperor rolled his eyes and stepped into the land of inheritance. The others quickly followed. Azure Dragon glanced at the land of inheritance and said with a hoarse smile, "It seems that everything is ready." "Yes. We've been waiting for you all." Qin Feiyang smiled and then looked at the old antiques of the three races. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, seniors. I, Qin Feiyang, will remember this favor." "It's okay. You invited us here because you think highly of us. It's our great honor." The old antiques of the three races waved their hands and their faces were full of smiles. Originally, when Li Feng went to invite them, they already felt very surprised and honored. But they didn't expect that Qin Feiyang would say that he owed them a favor. What kind of person was Qin Feiyang now? He was the true number one person in the Sky Cloud realm. Even the king of the Divine Kingdom was defeated by him. If they could get a favor from him, it would definitely bring them unexpected benefits in the future. "Then I'll have to trouble you." Qin Feiyang was polite throughout. After he finished speaking, he retreated to the side and then looked at Elder Hua with a smile in his eyes. The old antiques of the three races were really touched by this invitation. "This old man will go first." The white-haired old man of the Feng people glanced at the land of inheritance and stepped forward. He landed in front of a stone statue on the periphery. He raised his hand and a divine light swept out from between his eyebrows and merged with the stone statue's glabella. These people were all old and wise. Looking at the layout of the land of inheritance, they knew that the stone statue in the center was for Qin Feiyang's law of life and death. The 8 stone statues in the second circle were also for the strongest law. The ordinary law was naturally for the dozen or so stone statues in the outer circle. The 9 elders followed beside the white-haired old man and quickly engraved the old man's face on the stone statue. "You still want to leave this old man's statue?" The white-haired old man was stunned. "Of course. We have to let the future generations remember your kindness." The second elder chuckled. When the white-haired old man heard this, the smile on his face became even brighter. The other old antiques were the same. It was indeed a good thing to be immortalized. "Why did you come back?" At the same time, Qin Feiyang turned his head and glanced at the white-eyed wolf and madman. The white-eyed wolf chuckled and said, "How can we not be part of such a good thing like being immortalized?" "That's right. As long as we leave our law of life here, the future generations will admire us for the rest of their lives. Just thinking about it makes me feel awesome." Madman chuckled. "Ah." Qin Feiyang looked at the two of them in astonishment. He really couldn't tell that these two guys liked fame so much. "Let me tell you. We've already discussed it. I'll leave behind 2 law of life, and little madman will leave behind 2. When the 4 stone statues are placed here and the disciples of the Demon Palace see that we actually left behind 2 law of life, wouldn't they worship us to death?" The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Qin Feiyang was speechless. At this moment, one of the dragons walked out and landed in front of the stone statue that Qin Feiyang had reserved. Chu Yun was about to stop him and explain the situation, but Elder Hua stopped her. Chu Yun immediately looked at Elder Hua suspiciously. Elder Hua glanced at Qin Feiyang, who was chatting with the white-eyed wolf, and chuckled. Don't worry about him. I'm going to get him to the stone statue in the center. Chu Yun couldn't help but laugh. Don't make a sound. Elder Hua also secretly instructed the Fire Lotus, the Mermaid Princess, and Li Feng. The three of them looked at each other and couldn't help but shake their heads and laugh. The law of life is complete. Chu Yun looked at the Feather Emperor and cupped her hands. Lord Feather Emperor, thank you. The Feather Emperor smiled faintly and landed in front of a stone statue in the second circle. A divine light immediately flashed from his forehead and merged with the stone statue's forehead. It's complete. Qin Feiyang was stunned for a moment. He hurriedly looked at the stone statues and discovered that the Feather Emperor was standing in front of the second circle of stone statues. He was immediately stunned and shouted, Old Ancestor, the centermost stone statue is specially reserved for you. The Feather Emperor was stunned and looked at Chu Yun and Elder Hua suspiciously. It's fine. Chu Yun waved her hand and went forward to personally carve the Feather Emperor's face on the stone statue. Don't say. After the face was carved on the stone statue, the entire stone statue immediately became different. It was as if a king had been born and emitted a monstrous aura. That's not right. Qin Feiyang noticed that the dozen or so stone statues outside all had faces carved on them. The stone statue that he had reserved was also carved with the faces of the ancient dragons. What's going on? Didn't we just chat for a while? Why is it taken by someone else? Why didn't you inform him? Qin Feiyang came back to his senses and turned to look at Elder Hua. When he saw the smile on Elder Hua's face, he immediately understood that it was intentional. It's my turn. When the Feather Emperor returned, the white-eyed wolf rushed forward and left his experience of the law of time and space on the two stone statues' foreheads. Not only did it include the ultimate profundity and supreme profundity, but it also included the first to second profundity. After he was done, he turned to look at Chu Yun and urged, hurry up and carve my peerless face on it. The corner of Chu Yun's mouth twitched. She soared into the sky and began to carve the white-eyed wolf's face. The corner of the eye is wrong. It's a little small, wait. The mouth is wrong too. It's a little big, do you know how to do it or not? No, the nose bridge is too low. Is my nose bridge that ugly? Looking at the white-eyed wolf who had been chattering non-stop, Chu Yun was annoyed. She immediately retreated and said, do it yourself. You're not happy just because I said a few words. What kind of attitude is that? The white-eyed wolf was dissatisfied. Say it again. Chu Yun clenched her fists tightly, and her veins bulged. Cough cough, the white-eyed wolf shrunk his neck and coughed dryly. He snorted coldly and said, a good man doesn't fight with a woman. Do it yourself. After saying that, he soared into the sky and carefully carved stroke by stroke. This was the first time they had seen him do something so seriously. Chapter 40-44. After a long time, the white-eyed wolf finally came to an end. Needless to say, when the face of the stone statue was carved, it really displayed his style to the fullest. Next was the frenzy, who left behind his insights on the law of destruction and law of death. The stone statue was also personally carved by him, and it was quite accurate. It was like the overlord of heaven and earth, looking down on the 9 heavens. The white-eyed wolf's space-time and law of time, the frenzy's law of destruction and law of death, Feather Emperor's law of nothingness. Now, only the karma law, devour law, life and death law were left. Fire Dance left behind her insights on the karma law, and the stone statue was next to the white-eyed wolf's stone statue. The masked Shura left behind his insights on the devour law. As for the law of life and death, it naturally fell on Qin Feiyang's head. Please. Chu Yun looked at him with a smile. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. Now, there were only 2 stone statues left. One was in the second circle. One was in the middle. There was no room for choice anymore. What are you waiting for? Hurry up. Feather Emperor urged. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and walked to the front of the stone statue, leaving behind his insights on the law of life and law of life and death. Looking at the insights on the law of life and death, everyone present couldn't help but reveal a trace of desire. However, although this insight on the law of life and death contained all of Qin Feiyang's insights on the law of life and death, the first condition to obtain this insight was to first comprehend the law of life and death. Of course, it was the same for other laws. If one didn't grasp this law, then they wouldn't be able to obtain the corresponding insights. The other laws were still okay, but the law of life and death that surpassed all other laws, in the entire sky cloud realm, only Qin Feiyang had comprehended it. One could imagine how difficult it was. Sigh. There were some things that couldn't be envied. While everyone was sighing, Elder Hu personally went forward and carved his face on the 2 stone statues of Qin Feiyang. Elder Hu, didn't we agree? Qin Feiyang's face was full of helplessness. Did this old man agree? Elder Hu looked at him. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. Didn't Chu Yun previously? She said that as long as I am happy to do it. This is what little Yun agreed to. This old man did not agree to it. Elder Hu smiled proudly. Qin Feiyang shook his head with a bitter smile. The older the ginger, the spicier it was. The Feather Emperor looked at the 2 of them suspiciously and asked, "What are you talking about?" "This descendant of yours can't leave his name," Elder Hu briefly explained the situation. "I see." The Feather Emperor smiled in understanding. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "This time, I support Elder Hu. Such a great achievement must be remembered." Great achievements? Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? Is there anything else? Feather Emperor asked. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. He looked at the old antiques and said with a smile, "The Rogue Cultivator Alliance, the Godly Palace, and the Heavenly Hall are also constructing their respective lands of inheritance. Therefore, I'll have to trouble everyone to work harder. They're all under construction." Was this discussed in advance? The old antiques of the various clans were stunned. "You can say that we've discussed it before." Qin Feiyang nodded. "All right. Since you've already spoken, how can we refuse?" The white-haired old man from the phone people chuckled. Thank you, thank you." Qin Feiyang cupped his fists and smiled. He then looked at Li Feng and said, "Let's go to the southern and northern continents first. Then, we'll go to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance." "All right." Li Feng waved his hand and a space-time tunnel opened. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Elder Hu and said with a smile, "Then we'll go first. You guys should quickly arrange for the more outstanding disciples to receive the inheritance first." "All right." Elder Hu nodded. The third elder asked, Qin Feiyang, "In that case, can us old fellows accept the inheritance insights here?" The other elders' eyes lit up when they heard this. Of course. As long as Elder Hu, the Hall Master, and Chu Yun agree. Qin Feiyang smiled. Thank you, thank you." The 9 elders were overjoyed. As long as they could obtain the inheritance here, the demonic hall would definitely be able to produce many experts with ultimate profoundness in a short time. However, Qin Feiyang suddenly changed the topic and said, "The heavenly tribulation of an ordinary law's ultimate profoundness is nothing. However, the heavenly tribulation of an ultimate law's ultimate profoundness is the same as the heavenly tribulation of a sovereign divine weapon. When you comprehend the ultimate law's ultimate profoundness, you can't directly undergo the tribulation because of a moment of excitement. You have to make arrangements in advance." Understood. The 9 elders nodded. Qin Feiyang was still a little worried. He turned to look at Elder Hua and said, "If I'm in the sky cloud realm, you can come and find me. However, if I'm not, it's best to find Emperor Yu and the others and gather all the sovereign divine weapons in the sky cloud realm to help you pass the tribulation. Don't worry. I know what to do." Elder Hua smiled hoarsely. "All right. Then, I wish you all the best in comprehending the ultimate law's ultimate profoundness." Qin Feiyang smiled and stepped into the space-time tunnel. Sky Palace. Temple. The land of inheritance had been constructed. The leaders of the two palaces personally led their people to wait at the entrance. Their eyes were filled with anticipation and joy. Temple. Shua. A space-time tunnel appeared. With He Zhongtian as the leader, tens of thousands of elders and countless disciples couldn't help but be shocked. Finally. Under everyone's gaze, Qin Feiyang and the others walked out of the space-time tunnel. "Greetings, young lord." "Greetings, Emperor Yu." "Greetings, lords." He Zhongtian immediately led the elders forward and bowed. Qin Feiyang glanced at the disciples of temple below. Indeed, there were much fewer disciples than the demon palace. He then looked at He Zhongtian and secretly smiled. "As the temple master of temple, don't call me young lord in the future. It will damage your dignity." "No. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be able to keep my life, let alone open the gate of potential. I dare not forget this great kindness. Therefore, no matter what happens in the future, you will always be my young lord." He Zhongtian hurriedly transmitted his voice. The secret of the gate of potential would continue to be hidden. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh and said, "As long as you're not afraid of losing face." "How much is face worth? Moreover, serving you as my master is not losing face, but basking in your glory." He Zhongtian chuckled. "Why didn't I realize before that you're so good at talking?" The white-eyed wolf looked at him mockingly. "The past is the past, now is the present. It can't be compared." He Zhongtian laughed dryly. "All right. Bring us to the land of inheritance." Qin Feiyang smiled. "Okay. Lords, please." He Zhongtian hurriedly retreated to the side, letting Qin Feiyang and the others walk in front. Not long later, Qin Feiyang and the others entered the land of inheritance. It was almost exactly the same as the land of inheritance in the demon palace. Obviously, this was also discussed in advance. After leaving the inheritance experience, Qin Feiyang and the others didn't stay and immediately headed to the Sky Palace. Fire Lotus secretly said, "Qin Dage, do you think our Black Tortoise world should also build a few land of inheritance?" "I have such plans." Qin Feiyang nodded. Although the current Black Tortoise world had grown a lot, it was still a long way from the Sky Cloud realm, let alone compared to the Divine Kingdom. So, whether it was the Land of Devils, the Central Continent, the Western region, the Northern region, or the Southern region, they all had to build a land of inheritance. However, in comparison, he wanted the Spirit Vein and the Crystal Vein more. Because the Spirit Vein and the Crystal Vein were the foundation of a world. Since that's the case, I can't help much outside anyway. Why don't I return to the Black Tortoise world first and bring Pai Lupi and the others to build the land of inheritance? Fire Lotus secretly said. That's fine too. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a thought, Fire Lotus disappeared without a trace. After entering the Sky Palace and leaving the Law Experience, the group headed to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance without stopping. Although the Western continent had encountered a great calamity, the Rogue Cultivator Alliance had evacuated in time and didn't suffer any losses. Qin Feiyang also caught a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. For example, Zhang Deyuan, the Grand Elder, and the Grand Elder's granddaughter. The Black Dragon and Fire One also kept their promise and stayed in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. However, they were treated well. The Alliance Master and the others treated them as VIPs. After leaving the law experience behind, the Feather Emperor prepared to leave. But right at this moment. Feather Emperor, please wait. 3 figures appeared at the same time. They were the white-bearded old man, Huo Wenchang, and a patriarch of the dragons. What's wrong? The Feather Emperor raised his head and looked at the 3. The 3 landed in front of the Feather Emperor and bowed. Father, why are you here? Huo Wu looked at Huo Wenchang in confusion. Huo Wenchang smiled and said, I heard that the Devil Hall, Rogue Cultivator Alliance, Heavenly Palace, and Deities Hall are all building a land of inheritance. Therefore, our 3 races discussed and built a land of inheritance for each of us. The 3 races naturally didn't want to miss out on such a good opportunity. This was especially true for the Feng people and the Qilin race. The dragons had Long Chen and Long Qin. They were stronger than before. The Qilin race was slightly better. At least they had Qi Xiaoyun. As for the Feng people, although they had Huo Wu, she didn't have a good impression of the Feng people. The current Feng people didn't have much of a presence in the sky cloud realm. If they didn't work harder, they would be completely forgotten by the world. The white-eyed wolf said, in that case, you are also here to ask for our help. Yes. Huo Wenchang nodded. The white-bearded old man also looked at Qin Feiyang, the Feather Emperor, and the others. He pleaded, please help us. The Feather Emperor, the mad scientist, the white-eyed wolf, and the masked Azura didn't say anything. They turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said with a smile, since it's a good thing that benefits the sky cloud realm, we might as well be good people to the end and let this merit be fulfilled. Thank you. Huo Wenchang and the white-bearded old man were pleasantly surprised. The old ancestor of the dragons was also overjoyed. The mad scientist thought for a moment, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, since that's the case, then I'll let the blood demon race build a place of inheritance. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. After an hour of running around, the 3 great races' places of inheritance also left behind all the law insights. Immediately after, they entered the blood demon race again. Because the blood demon race only received the news later, the place of inheritance hadn't been built yet. The old antiques of the various races volunteered to help. Another hour passed, and the blood demon race's place of inheritance was finally completed. 2 hours outside, but many years had passed in the Black Tortoise realm. The Devil's Land, Central Continent, Northern Domain, Southern Domain, and Eastern Domain's places of inheritance, Fire Lotus and the others had long been completed. They just happened to be done together. After leaving behind the law insights in the blood demon race, Qin Feiyang brought everyone into the Black Tortoise realm. It was the first time that the old antiques of the various races came to the Black Tortoise realm. Looking at the vast world in front of them, they were deeply shocked. With such a world, it would be difficult not to rise up. However, in the various places of inheritance of the Black Tortoise realm, there were no statues of these old antiques left behind. But before leaving, Qin Feiyang took out the law miniatures and gave a few to each of them. Giving them the law miniatures was more practical than leaving a stone statue in the place of inheritance. Therefore, not only did they not complain, but they were grateful. Chapter 40-45. In the Tea Garden. At this moment, everyone sitting here was on the same side. Feather Emperor chuckled and said, this time, it's really a success. That's not right. The Heavenly Cloud Sea doesn't seem to have built a land of inheritance yet. Madman said. It's also being built. However, we don't need the help of the 3 races. When the time comes, you can just accompany us there. Azure Dragon laughed hoarsely. Then it's definitely our duty. Madman bared his teeth. Even the dragons, the Feng people, and the Kirin clan had agreed to help, let alone the Heavenly Cloud Sea. Qin Feiyang said suspiciously, when I went to the Feng people just now, I found that the Feng people's time array is also 5,000 years a day. Whose masterpiece is this? Is there a need to think about it? It must be Brother Wolf. When you were in seclusion to comprehend the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death, he stayed in the azure wave snow mountain for a long time. Madman pursed his lips. Brother has no choice. Can I not agree to my future father-in-law's request? The white-eyed wolf's face was full of helplessness. You seem to be very wronged. Fire Lotus revealed a trace of displeasure. No, no. Father-in-law's request must be unconditionally agreed. The white-eyed wolf immediately pulled a smile. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but shake their heads and laugh. In the past, only Qin Feiyang could deal with the white-eyed wolf. Now, there was one more. But this was also good, lest he let his temper run wild. Suddenly, Madman asked, "Did Mu Qin come out of the soul-sealing valley?" It's been a whole day outside, 5,000 years in the Black Tortoise realm. He has already come out, but after coming out, he didn't return to the Devil's Land. Fire Lotus shook her head. Then where is he? Madman was curious. I've checked, he's hiding in the eastern region. He seems to have a lot of resentment towards you. Fire Lotus looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. It doesn't matter. Anyway, with the blood oath, he won't dare to fall out with us before destroying the divine kingdom. As for the future, if he wants to fall out with us, why should we be afraid of him? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. If he dares to turn against me, I'll kill him right away. Madman sneered. We'll talk about it then. Qin Feiyang held the teacup and drank leisurely. He did not take Mu Qing's resentment to heart at all. A little while passed. The blood ancestor sent word that the heavenly cloud sea's land of inheritance had been completed. Immediately, the group set off for Sky Cloud Island. Because the land of legacy was on the other side of Sky Cloud Island. The land of inheritance wasn't just built for sea beasts, it was also built for the divine beasts of the land of buried gods. After all, it was now. The divine beasts of the land of buried gods all lived in the sea of heavenly clouds. The relationship between the Feather Emperor and the little rabbit was also very good, so there was no need to make such a clear distinction. After everything was settled, the Mermaid Princess, Fire Dance, Shui Xiaoxian, and Li Feng entered the Black Tortoise world. The Mermaid Princess, Fire Dance, and Shui Xiaoxian all went to receive the inheritance. Li Feng directly entered the ancient castle to fuse with the inheritance that Long Chen gave him. Yun Xiang and the masked Azura stayed by the Feather Emperor's side. As for Qin Feiyang, Madman, and the white-eyed wolf, after bidding farewell to the Feather Emperor and the others, they once again descended on the dragon nest. This was because when they came to the dragon nest to leave their law insights, Long Chen had secretly sent them a message, telling them to come to the dragon nest to find him after they were done with their business. In the pavilion. In the hall. The four of them sat around a table. What's the matter? Madman drank wine while looking at Long Chen and asked. Back in the Western continent, didn't I say that I have some opinions about the king? But there were too many things at that time, so I called you here to talk about it. Long Chen held the teacup and smiled. What other opinions can you have about him? Madman was suspicious. No. Long Chen waved his hand and put down the teacup. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, Brother Qin, you should have already noticed it. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and said with a smile, but I don't know if what I've noticed is the same as what you've noticed. Then I'll talk about it first. I feel that the king has his own difficulties. Long Chen said. Difficulties? Madman and the white-eyed wolf were taken aback. Yes. Back then, when the king was defeated by Qin Feiyang, he said that many times, we don't have a choice. Do you know what this means? It means that although he's the king of the divine kingdom, he has to listen to orders. Long Chen said with a smile. Listen to the orders of the king of the divine kingdom? Madman asked. Apart from him, who else can order the king? Moreover, when Qin Feiyang wanted to kill the king of the divine kingdom could and had the ability to save the king. But he didn't do anything during the whole process. Do you know what secrets are hidden in this? Long Chen asked with a smile. Don't keep us in suspense, just say it. The white-eyed wolf glared at him. Don't you know that I hate using my brain the most? If I'm not wrong, he was testing the king's loyalty to him. If the king changed his mind and wanted to reconcile with us, I'm afraid that we wouldn't have to do anything. The king of the divine kingdom would have killed him personally. Long Chen explained. It seems to make sense. I remember that the king of the divine kingdom only came to the rescue after the king expressed his stance. Madman nodded and muttered. Yes. So I'm guessing that the king of the divine kingdom was using this opportunity to test the king's loyalty. If the king really chose to reconcile with us, I'm afraid that not only the king, but even the purple gold divine dragon clan would be finished. Don't doubt his ability. As the king of the divine kingdom, it's too easy for him to wipe out the purple gold divine dragon clan. This is like Qin Feiyang. As the king of the black tortoise world, he only needs a thought to wipe out the creatures of the black tortoise world. Long Chen said. In that case, the king can still be persuaded. The white-eyed wolf was bewildered. If the king is really forced to do this, we can indeed win him over. After all, whether it's the king himself or the purple gold divine dragon clan's strength, they can't be underestimated. Long Chen nodded, then turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, Brother Qin, do you see the same thing as me? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. This person's insight was truly terrifying. What he said was almost exactly the same as what he thought. The white-eyed wolf asked, Brother, can we understand it this way? In the future, when we encounter the purple gold divine dragon clan, will we still have to show mercy? This, you'll have to ask Qin Feiyang. I don't care. If we kill them, then so be it. Long Chen chuckled. The white-eyed wolf turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, This is just our guess. Let's wait until we enter the divine kingdom and understand the real situation. Enter the divine kingdom, Long Chen whispered and sighed, I still feel that this is too risky. It's just like when we entered the black tortoise world. As long as you're willing, you can immediately find our whereabouts. The madman said, Even so, didn't the king of the divine kingdom say that he won't interfere for 10,000 years? You dare to believe the promise of such a person? Long Chen was speechless. Even if he doesn't keep his word, we definitely have to go now. Your father gave us such a big problem. If we don't enter the divine kingdom, when can we open the seal and obtain the inheritance inside? The white-eyed wolf was dissatisfied. Cough cough. Can you not look at me with those resentful eyes? At first, I was also against it. But what can I do? Long Chen smiled bitterly. After pondering for a while, he nodded and said, Okay, I'll go with you. In any case, I have a life-saving trump card now. Even if the king of the divine kingdom chases after me, I won't lose my life. Really? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. What kind of life-saving trump card could be so powerful? It's temporarily life-saving. Long Chen smiled mysteriously and said, However, we really have to call the young man who pretended to be Qin Batian, because I have a feeling that this young man can solve our crisis in the divine kingdom. I've already talked to him, but he didn't seem very interested. Qin Feiyang shook his head. If he doesn't go, then I'll think about it again. Long Chen said. From what you said, if we can't convince him, you won't go, right? The white-eyed wolf frowned. You can say that. Long Chen nodded. No sense of brotherhood. The white-eyed wolf snorted coldly, his expression full of displeasure. Whatever you say. Anyway, you have to know that it's impossible for us to sneak in without anyone noticing. Because the gate of the divine kingdom has its own consciousness. As long as we enter, it will definitely inform the king of the divine kingdom immediately. In other words, we only have one way, and that is to kill our way in openly. Long Chen said. If we don't kill our way in openly, can it be called a counterattack? Suddenly, a lazy voice sounded. A young man walked into the hall with sleepy eyes. Why are you in our dragon nest? Long Chen got up and looked at the young man in surprise. He didn't notice at all. You have to know. The dragon nest had always had the enchantment of the god sword. Who can stop me from going where I want to go? The young man entered the hall and directly sat down on a chair, yawning. Qin Feiyang and the others were really speechless. However, this seemingly calm sentence caused them to be endlessly shocked in their hearts. Who can stop me from going where I want to go? Domineering. The white-eyed wolf asked, since you came to us, does that mean that you agree to go to the divine kingdom? Otherwise, why would I come to you? To drink tea with you? You're not young ladies. The young man looked at the white-eyed wolf with disdain. The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. But then, the four of them looked at each other with unconcealable joy on their faces. They really didn't expect this young man would take the initiative to come to them. The white-eyed wolf looked at Long Chen and laughed. Little Chen, what do you say now? What else can I say? I can only accompany you to die. Long Chen smiled bitterly. The young man suddenly said, since you know that you're going to die, then say your last words in advance. Long Chen's face darkened. Why is he still a jinx? Can't he say something nice? The young man stood up and snatched the wine jar from the white-eyed wolf's hand. He turned and walked out of the door and said faintly, go while I'm in high spirits. Go now. Long Chen was stunned. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other in dismay. This was too hasty. Chapter 40-46. I'm still a little interested now. If I lose interest later, I won't go even if you carry me in a palanquin. The young man opened a time passage and walked in without looking back as he drank. He's really swift and decisive. The corner of Madman's mouth twitched. But this is a rare opportunity. Don't wait until he loses interest, or it will be too late to regret. White-eyed Wolf said and hurriedly ran into the time passage. Then you go first. I'll go find my mother and tell her something. I'll go to the land of buried gods to find you. Long Chen came back to his senses and immediately left the loft, flying towards the mountains not far away. Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other with a helpless expression and rushed into the time passage like lightning. Core area. After the Divine Kingdom's people withdrew, this place became very deserted. In the sky. The gate of the Divine Kingdom was high up in the sky, releasing wisps of aura that made people's heart palpitate. Qin Feiyang and Madman arrived in the sky above the core area and found that the young man was looking at the gate of the Divine Kingdom. His sleepy eyes seemed to be glowing. Aren't you going to tell Feather Emperor and the others? And Yun Xiang? Didn't he say that he's going to the Divine Kingdom? Madman turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked. Yun Xiang. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and shook his head. It's better not to ask him to go. If we all go to the Divine Kingdom, only Feather Emperor and the others will be left in the Sky Cloud realm. If the Divine Kingdom takes the opportunity to cause trouble for the Sky Cloud realm, wouldn't it be very dangerous? This, Madman frowned and said, if the Sky Cloud realm really takes the opportunity to cause trouble, it's meaningless for Yun Xiang to stay in the Sky Cloud realm. After all, no one can stop the 3,000 incarnations of the Divine Kingdom except for you. Qin Feiyang heard this and frowned. It seemed they had been ignoring one point. After entering the Divine Kingdom, what would happen to the Sky Cloud realm? They had always been the ones fighting against the divine kingdom. Furthermore, they were the only ones capable of stopping the divine kingdom. The people of the divine kingdom were not stupid. Once they knew that they had entered the divine kingdom, they would definitely take the opportunity to invade the sky cloud realm. The divine kingdom was so powerful that even a group of heavenly prides was enough to raise the sky cloud realm to the ground, let alone the monarch, the supremes of the human race, the divine king, and heavenly Lord G. If he went all out, he could stay in the sky cloud realm and block these people. However, if he didn't go to the divine kingdom and let White-Eyed Wolf and the others go, he wouldn't feel at ease. Two choices. The young man suddenly spoke. What choice? Qin Feiyang stared blankly at the young man. First, transfer the beings of the sky cloud realm to the Nether King's hell. Secondly, after we enter the divine kingdom, we will destroy the gate of the divine kingdom. The young man said. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other. Their faces twitched again. First, the first choice. Back then, it wasn't easy to get everyone back from the Nether King's hell. Now, they had to transfer them to the Nether King's hell again. As for the second choice, it could only be described as crazy. If they destroyed the gate of the divine kingdom, how could they come back? Wouldn't they be trapped in the divine kingdom forever? After the gate of the divine kingdom is destroyed, it can be repaired, but it will take a long time. The young man said. How long? Qin Feiyang asked. I don't know. I guess it will take at least hundreds of thousands of years. The young man guessed. So long. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Of course, if you can't wait that long, you can also try to suppress the gate of the divine kingdom. As long as you suppress it or seal it and bring it with you, not only can it protect the sky cloud realm, but we can also leave the divine kingdom at any time. However, whether it's destroying or suppressing, there is a prerequisite. The prerequisite is that the ruler of the divine kingdom won't interfere. The young man said faintly. In other words, if the ruler of the divine kingdom intervenes, then whether it's destroying the gate of the divine kingdom or suppressing the divine kingdom, we can't do it? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Do you still need to ask? If the ruler of the divine kingdom intervenes, even I have to avoid it. How can we destroy it or suppress it? The young man rolled his eyes. Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf raised his head and looked at the gate of the divine kingdom. His eyes flickered. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and frowned. I'm afraid that even if the ruler of the divine kingdom doesn't intervene, it will still be difficult for us to destroy it. Why? Madman looked at him in confusion. Because last time, the gate of the divine kingdom was destroyed by the princess of the divine kingdom. With that lesson, the divine kingdom will definitely be prepared. Qin Feiyang said. Don't worry about that. No matter how prepared they are, they won't be able to stop our 3,000 incarnations. The young man waved his hand. At the mention of 3,000 incarnations, Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at the young man in unison. What's wrong? The young man didn't turn his head, but he could feel the puzzled gaze of the three. Where did your 3,000 incarnations come from? Madman was curious. The young man slowly turned around, looked at the madman, and joked, if I say that I found it interesting when I saw Qin Feiyang activate his 3,000 incarnations, so I pondered for a while and figured it out myself, would you believe me? Ah! Madman looked at the young man in astonishment. When he came back to his senses, he said with a dark face, who would believe you? Then that's it. In any case, you won't believe what I say. The young man turned around and continued to look at the gate of the divine kingdom. Hurry up and think about it. Should we let Yun Xiang come? Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other with a bitter smile on their faces. This young man was really a mysterious man. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, forget it. Let him and the masked Shura stay in the sky cloud realm. They can help the Feather Emperor deal with any sudden changes. Schwa. At this moment, Long Chen finally arrived. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the teleportation channel behind Long Chen and asked, "Where's your sister? Why did you let her come for such a dangerous thing?" Long Chen shook his head. The white-eyed wolf said with a smirk, "I didn't see it. You're quite concerned about your sister. Seems like you really didn't pick her up." When Long Chen heard this, a row of black lines appeared on his forehead. He said angrily, "I'm telling you, don't say such things in the future." "Heh." The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. "Everyone's here, right? Let's go." The young man said and took the lead, heading towards the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang and the others immediately followed. Long Chen looked at the ground below and asked suspiciously, "You didn't ask Yun Xiang and the others to come?" "Nope. They don't need to undo the seal. It's safer for them to stay in the sky cloud realm." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "That's true." Long Chen nodded. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes and said with a smile, "Little Chen, since your sister isn't here, why don't you help us undo the seal secretly?" "How is that possible? This seal was placed by my father. Once the seal is undone, you'll definitely notice it. At that time, you won't even have a place to cry if you take everything away." Long Chen said. Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf smiled embarrassedly. "Forget it. Although going to the Divine Kingdom was a bit difficult, it was still better than losing the inheritance. Be careful." The young man suddenly said. The four of them quickly raised their heads and looked at the young man. They saw that the young man was staring at the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Could the gate of the Divine Kingdom run away? No. Last time when the God-slaying tablet was undergoing its tribulation here, it really ran away. Thinking of this, the four of them became serious. Seeing that they were getting closer to the gate of the Divine Kingdom, the gate of the Divine Kingdom immediately rushed towards the inner region with a loud clang. "You really want to run away?" The white-eyed wolf and Long Chen looked at each other and activated the moment of time at the same time. They instantly appeared in front of the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Qin Feiyang and Lunatic also rushed towards the sky like lightning and stood behind the gate of the Divine Kingdom. "I don't have much patience. You'd better behave yourselves." The young man took a step forward. A mighty divine power rolled out and rushed towards the gate of the Divine Kingdom like a tide. Surrounded by the five of them, the gate of the Divine Kingdom kept shaking as if it was afraid and looking for a chance to escape. "Don't be afraid. Your Divine Kingdom is so powerful. Even if we enter the Divine Kingdom, what can we do?" The madman chuckled and activated instant time. With a whoosh, he entered the Divine Kingdom's door. Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, Long Chen, and the young man looked at each other from a distance. Then they also turned into beams of light and disappeared into the gate of the Divine Kingdom. What they didn't know was that the moment they entered the gate of the Divine Kingdom, a figure appeared in the void below. It was Long Chen. "You think I won't come if you don't bring me?" Snorting, Long Chen also rushed towards the gate of the Divine Kingdom. This time, the gate of the Divine Kingdom didn't hide. Maybe it thought that since Qin Feiyang and the others had already entered, it didn't matter if one more person went in. Back to Qin Feiyang's group of five. At this moment, they were in a vast space. It was boundless. There were no mountains or rivers, and there were no traces of living creatures. "This is the Divine Kingdom?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. "No. This isn't the Divine Kingdom." Qin Feiyang shook his head and glanced around. The situation here is similar to the space-time transmission channel between Hell and the Sky Cloud Realm. So I think we are now in the channel of the Gate of the Divine Kingdom. It is indeed similar. Lunatic nodded. When they entered the Sky Cloud Realm in the past, what they saw in the passageway was also a boundless void. Since it is a channel, there must be an exit. Let's go. The young man waved his hand, and the group rushed towards the other side. However, they had only flown for a dozen miles when a terrifying aura suddenly erupted. Following that, an invisible force surged towards them from all directions. They received the news so quickly and came to intercept us. Lunatic raised his eyebrows. And it was definitely not the monarch and the others who came to intercept them. Because this force was the rule force. Rule force, Long Chen smiled faintly and opened his god's domain. Boom! When the rule force around them poured into the god's domain, it disappeared without a trace. Amazing! The white-eyed wolf gave a thumbs up. Even the young man couldn't help but take a few more glances at Long Chen. The god's domain was worthy of its name. Chapter 40-47. Long Chen smiled and was about to move forward. Boom! But at this moment, behind them, a terrifying aura erupted. When Long Chen sensed this aura, his face suddenly changed. He hurriedly turned his head and saw a woman being squeezed by the power of the rule force. Blood was spurting out from her pores. This woman was Long Chen. The power of the rule force around her was like an invisible mountain, making her unable to move at all. Long Chen. Qin Feiyang and the others turned their heads to look and couldn't help but be stunned. Why is this woman here too? Go and save her. Immediately after. Madman shouted. Long Chen immediately rushed towards Long Chen with his god's domain. Qin Feiyang and the others also followed closely behind Long Chen. Long Chen's current situation was undoubtedly the truth in front of his eyes. The power of the rule force here was enough to kill them. Very quickly. The five of them rushed in front of Long Chen. As their god's domain enveloped Long Chen, the power of the rule force that was squeezing Long Chen immediately disappeared. Long Chen lay in the void, gasping for breath, his eyes full of fear. White-eyed Wolf waved his hand and activated the law of life. A majestic life energy poured into Long Chen's body, and the injuries on his body were immediately healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. After Long Chen's injuries were almost healed and his mood gradually stabilized, Long Chen suddenly said angrily, "Who allowed you to follow us? Do you know how serious the consequences would be if we were far away now?" Long Chen got up, glanced at the fierce Long Chen, and lowered his head like a child who had done something wrong. Long Chen couldn't help but feel distressed and said, "Are you stupid? I told you to cultivate in the sky cloud realm but you didn't listen. You just had to come here and take risks." Long Chen stammered. "Since you're here, let's go together." Qin Feiyang laughed. "Yeah, let's go together. The more people there are, the more we can take care of each other." Long Chen looked at Long Chen and giggled. Long Chen's face darkened. He looked up at the entrance and said helplessly, "All right, I don't want you to sneak in again if I chase you back." "Thank you, brother." Long Chen was pleasantly surprised. Qin Feiyang also looked at the entrance and said with a frown, "However, I'm a little worried about Yun Xiang and the others. Don't let them know that we've already entered the Divine Kingdom and rush in recklessly." "Don't worry. Yun Xiang wouldn't be so impulsive." Long Chen waved his hand and glared at Long Chen. Long Chen hugged Long Chen's arm with a fawning smile. "I hope so." Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and glanced at the turbulent rule force outside the god's domain. "We have mastered the ultimate meaning of the strongest law and already have the strength to interfere with the rule force, but I didn't expect it to still be able to threaten us. It seems that the person behind this is the ruler of the Divine Kingdom. If you don't want us to enter the Divine Kingdom, then we'll go. Continue." White-eyed Wolf smiled coldly. Long Chen took a deep breath and looked at Long Chen, "Follow me closely." "Okay." Long Chen nodded. The group immediately turned into a stream of light and rushed toward the opposite side. The rule force became more and more terrifying. Even the god's domain began to tremble, but they still couldn't see the exit. It can't be that far. Madman frowned. Suddenly, Long Chen seemed to have thought of something and frowned. Maybe he has already blocked the exit. No way. He is the ruler of the divine kingdom, how could he be so despicable? Madman was surprised. He released his divine sense and rushed in all directions. But as soon as his divine sense left the god's domain, it was instantly strangled by the rule force. If he isn't despicable, would he let the monarch and the others kill their way to the sky cloud realm when little Qin Zi was going through the tribulation? White-eyed Wolf snorted coldly. This kind of person really didn't deserve to be the ruler of a world. About a few hundred breaths passed. The rule force had reached an extremely terrifying level, and even the god's domain had cracked. I can't hold on for long. Long Chen said in a deep voice, and for the first time, his face looked extremely solemn. Then let's retreat first. Long Chen asked. Retreat. Long Chen made a prompt decision and led Qin Feiyang and the others to activate momentary time and rushed toward the entrance. A moment later, they came to the entrance, but found that the entrance had disappeared. What's going on? We don't seem to have gone in the wrong direction, right? White-eyed Wolf was surprised. The direction is definitely not wrong. This is the place. Look, there is still the blood left by Qin. Long Chen pointed to the void in front of them and said. Everyone looked over. There were indeed a lot of blood stains in the void. And at that time, the entrance was not far away. But now, the entrance had disappeared and was replaced by nothingness. The entrance has disappeared, which means that our judgment is right. The exit must have also disappeared. He's trying to trap them here until they die. Qin Feiyang's eyes were gloomy. He never thought that they would encounter such a crisis before even entering the divine kingdom. Little brother, you have to think of a way. White-eyed Wolf looked at the silent young man next to him. Heard. Qin Feiyang and the others also looked at the young man. You all have no way, what can I do? The young man yawned. You can't do this. We are now grasshoppers on the same rope. White-eyed Wolf's face darkened. In such a critical situation, how could he act as if it had nothing to do with him? Crack. With a loud noise, a wide crack appeared in the god's domain. Waves of rule power surged in from the crack and rushed toward Qin Feiyang and the others. If you want to leave this place, you first have to find the location of the exit and then tear it open. As the young man spoke, he scanned the void. You don't have to tell us that. We know that too. But this is our first time here. Who knows where the exit is? Wasn't this equivalent to saying nothing? Longqin's war soul. The young man reminded. Longqin's war soul. White-eyed Wolf was stunned and turned to look at Longqin. Longqin was also a little stunned. The young man said, Longqin's war soul not only has the ability to eavesdrop on others' conversations, but also see through fabrications. As long as she is careful, she should be able to find the location of the exit. That's right. Back then in the ancient realm, when we changed our appearances, you could see through it at a glance. You can definitely see through it now. Try it quickly. White-eyed Wolf urged. I'm not sure if it will work. Longqin shook her head. We have to try to know if it will work or not. The rule power is increasing. Qin, hurry up and activate it. Long Chen said. Okay. Longqin nodded. A ray of bright light appeared in her eyes and her pupils turned milky white. Usually, when she eavesdropped on others' conversations, the light in her eyes was looming and difficult to detect. At this moment, her two eyes were like two bright moons, dazzling to the eyes. It could be seen that her war soul had been fully activated. She glanced around and shook her head. There is nothing unusual in this area. White-eyed Wolf looked up at the other side and said in a deep voice, then let's go there and take a look. Whoosh! A group of people immediately flew to the other side. The cracks on the god's domain were getting bigger and bigger. The rule power that was pouring in was getting more and more terrifying. It was almost threatening to Qin Feiyang and the others. "Brother Qin, it's your turn to make a move." Long Chen shouted. Qin Feiyang nodded. Roar! The purple gold dragon soul appeared. Eye of Heaven opened and quickly replicated a god's domain. However, the rule power was even more terrifying. With a crack, Long Chen's god's domain shattered. Fortunately, Qin Feiyang had successfully replicated it. Otherwise, the current rule power was enough to kill them instantly. However, Qin Feiyang's replicated god's domain wouldn't last long. Because at this moment, it was already shattering. Frenzy shouted, "If one isn't enough, then let's use 3,000 gods' domains." Unheard of. Qin Feiyang and Long Chen looked at each other. Boom! 3,000 incarnations were activated, and purple gold dragon souls roared out. Long Chen also activated his god's domain again. In just an instant, 3,000 gods' domains appeared out of thin air, stacked together layer by layer, constantly competing with the rule power. The crisis brought by the rule power could be temporarily resolved. A group of people galloped all the way. Soon, they came to the place where they turned back from before. "How is it?" White-eyed Wolf looked at Long Qin. "I didn't find anything. I really don't know if my battle soul has such an ability." Long Qin was also very anxious. "Believe in yourself. It can be done." Seeing Long Qin in a mess, White-eyed Wolf quickly comforted him. At this time, they must not panic. Without stopping, a group of people continued to rush into the depths. Boom! At this time, in all directions, there was a loud rumbling sound as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. What's the situation? Everyone scanned their surroundings in bewilderment. In less than 3 breaths, Qin Feiyang, Frenzy, and White-eyed Wolf's expression changed. They saw a dazzling divine light surging from all directions, exuding a world-destroying aura. "What is this?" Long Chen was aghast. Even he couldn't help but feel a strong sense of crisis. "Origin Force." Qin Feiyang said word by word, his face gloomy to the extreme. Of course, he was no stranger to the Origin Force. Although he had not been to the Origin Force in the Black Tortoise Realm, sometimes when the Black Tortoise Realm was damaged, the little brat would use the Origin Force to repair it. And when he first entered the Sky Cloud Realm, when facing the Dragon God Sword and other sovereign divine weapons, the little brat also used the Origin Force. So, now, he could recognize the Origin Force in all directions at a glance. What? The Origin Force? Long Chen was shocked. The Origin Force, that was the origin force of a world, more powerful than the power of law. He's even used his source energy. He's really going all out. Bastard! You are too shameless. White-eyed Wolf roared. However, in this boundless space, there was no response. Boom! As the Origin Force came, the 3,000 gods' domains were shattered one by one. The powerful gods' domains were like decaying dead wood at this moment, facing the Origin Force, they had no ability to resist. Chapter 40-48. This was the power of origin energy. No matter what heaven-defying means you had, under the power of origin energy, it would be like rotten wood. The strength of the power of origin energy depended on the size of the world. In other words, the bigger the world, the stronger the power of origin energy. The current power of origin energy of the Black Tortoise Realm had not reached the full level yet. So at this time, Qin Feiyang did not dare to use the power of origin energy of the Black Tortoise Realm to compete with the power of origin energy of the Divine Kingdom. Long Qin, haven't you found it yet? The white-eyed wolf was anxious. Now, all of their lives were tied to this woman. Don't rush me. The more you rush, the more panicked I will be. Longqing scanned the void in front of her, not letting go of any details. In her eyes at this moment, the space here was like a woven silk thread. These silk threads were formed by the power of spacetime law. In other words, this was indeed a spacetime tunnel. However, it was countless times larger than the usual spacetime tunnel. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, 1,000 of the 3,000 gods' domains had been shattered. Suddenly, Longqing's gaze swept back and forth, locking onto a void in front of her left, and a trace of surprise immediately crept up on her face. The void there was also formed by the threads of spacetime law. But unlike other places, the threads here were more messy, as if a patch was sewn on a piece of cloth. Could it be here? Longqing murmured. Did you find anything? Seeing Longqing staring at a place, Madman immediately asked in surprise. Qin Feiyang and the others also followed Longqing's gaze, but they did not find anything unusual in that void. The entire void was one entity. Yes. It's like a patch. An irresponsible guess. Maybe that's the exit. Longqing said. The white-eyed wolf heard this, and the corner of his mouth could not help but twitch. This kind of statement was indeed very irresponsible. I haven't seen the exit, of course I'm not sure. Longqing glared at him. Whether it is or not, I have to give it a try. Qin Feiyang stared at the void where Longqing was pointing. His eyes were as sharp as a blade because he had no other choice. Hide in the Black Tortoise world. If they really hid in the Black Tortoise world, not only would they not be able to escape, they would also implicate the Black Tortoise world. Although the Black Tortoise realm had grown a lot and was even larger than the ancient realm, it was still like a child in front of the divine kingdom. The power of the origin could easily destroy the Black Tortoise realm. Once the Black Tortoise world collapsed, not only them, but all the living beings inside would suffer as well. This kind of thing was absolutely unacceptable. Crack. At this moment, of the 3,000 domains of divinity, only 1,000 remained. With the power of the origin source, it would only take a few blinks of an eye to shatter 1,000 domains of divinity. I can't hesitate any longer. Attack! Qin Feiyang bellowed. Boom! The 3,000 avatars behind him immediately activated the ultimate intent of the law of life and death. As the will of the heavenly Tao awakened, the 3,000 ultimate intents surged out of the godly domain like a flood. But before the 3,000 ultimate intents could even approach the void, they were already crushed by the origin source. This origin source is too strong. 3,000 ultimate intents of the law of life and death and even the will of the heavenly Tao can't contend against it. Madman's eyes were lifeless. I don't know how strong it is, but it's countless times stronger than the origin source of the Black Tortoise world. If we can't defeat the origin source, then we won't be able to approach the void, let alone tear open an exit. The only thing we can do now is to envelop the void in a godly domain. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Because if the void was enveloped in a godly domain, the origin source would be blocked outside. Naturally, it wouldn't be able to stop them from attacking the exit. But there were risks in doing so. Because the ultimate intents of the law of life and death were too strong, the shockwaves from colliding with the void would cause fatal danger to them. And when the time came, once the collision occurred and the shockwaves erupted, the godly domain would disintegrate on the spot. Once the godly domain disintegrated, the origin source would instantly drown them. When the time came, even if they didn't die from the shockwaves, they would definitely die from the origin source. In other words, even if the exit was here, even if they successfully tore open the exit, it would be a situation where they killed 1,000 enemies and suffered 800 casualties. But now, they really had no choice. After all, they had to take a gamble. Boom! Long Chen opened his godly domain again. The 3,000 incarnations behind Qin Feiyang were also replicated again. Because the godly domain that was replicated before had been completely shattered. Following closely, the group of people went straight for the void. Soon, that void was enveloped in a godly domain. To be on the safe side, little brother, senior brother, let's attack together. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. If he couldn't tear open the exit with his strength alone, then what he would face next would be a disaster. Because there was only one chance. He had to succeed in one go. Okay. Madman nodded. The power of the origin of all evil surged out. The young man glanced at the void, and the 3,000 incarnations were also activated. One after another, the ultimate esoteric laws were born, and they contained a terrifying will of the heavenly Tao. 3,000 incarnations, 6 ultimate esoteric laws, that was a total of 18,000 laws. And Madman's origin of all evil also had a power that surpassed the ultimate esoteric laws. As for Qin Feiyang, not only did he activate the ultimate esoteric laws of life and death, but he also activated the ultimate esoteric laws of death, karma, and light. Each ultimate esoteric law contained the will of the heavenly Tao. It could be said that when the three of them joined forces, even the monarch and the others would have to retreat. Get ready. Once the exit is torn open, no matter what happens, you must run out immediately. Qin Feiyang instructed. Before his voice faded, tens of thousands of ultimate esoteric laws and the origin of all evil immediately turned into a torrent and blasted toward the void. Accompanied by a loud bang, a destructive aura suddenly erupted. As expected, the godly domain replicated by the 3,000 incarnations was shattered one by one. Outside, the power of origin was also crazily bombarding the godly domain. There was the power of origin on the outside, and the destructive power born from the collision inside. Now, it was equivalent to a pincer attack. In an instant, more than 1,000 godly domains collapsed. The most terrifying thing was, Qin Feiyang and the others were inside the godly domain. Facing the destructive power that erupted, they would definitely bear the brunt. In just an instant, their bodies were dripping with blood. Boom! Who dared to hesitate? Qin Feiyang activated the ultimate esoteric law of life, and the divine lotus of life emitted endless life energy, constantly healing the injuries on their bodies. If it weren't for the divine lotus of life, just this fluctuation was enough to kill them. It was really killing 1,000 enemies at the cost of 800 of their own. But at this moment, their gazes were fixed on the void. Under the bombardment of tens of thousands of ultimate esoteric laws and the origin of all evil, that void was crazily distorting. Long Qin saw it the most clearly. In her eyes, the threads formed by the power of spacetime were breaking one after another. This was undoubtedly good news. Because the threads breaking meant that the exit was cracking. In the blink of an eye. Suddenly, with a loud crack, a crack more than a meter long appeared in the void. At this moment, the godly domains had also been completely shattered, and the power of origin surged in from all directions. Let's go! Qin Feiyang shouted. Long Chen waved his hand, swept up Qin Feiyang and the others, and activated the moment of time and flew toward the crack. And the divine lotus of life was always there. Now, Qin Feiyang didn't dare to deactivate the ultimate esoteric law of life. Their recovery was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they rushed to the front of the crack and could already see the outside world. It was a blood-red land without any vitality, and the sky was dim, looking extremely desolate. This made them ecstatic. Because Long Qin constantly judged that this was the exit. But then, their expressions changed abruptly. High in the sky outside, 4 figures stood side by side. These 4 people were the monarch, Heavenly Lord Ji, the the paragon of the human race, and the divine king. Moreover, Heavenly Lord Ji and the monarch had already activated their 3,000 incarnations. In the sky, the ultimate esoteric laws emitted a destructive aura. The divine king had also activated the mark of the god race. Behind the paragon of the human race, there were also golden dragon shadows, looking down on all living beings. Obviously, the monarch and the other three had been waiting for them. Moreover, it was waiting for them to come out of the tunnel and give them a head-on blow. In other words, even if they tore open the exit, they would have to face the bombardment of the monarch and the other three. The crisis was not over yet. Not bad. They can actually forcibly tear open the exit. But it will never be possible to enter the divine kingdom. The monarch said. He was indeed surprised that Qin Feiyang and the others could break out of the space-time passage. Because he knew the means of the divine kingdom's paragon best. If it were him, he wouldn't even be able to find the exit, let alone break out. But appreciation was one thing. He had to kill them. Boom! As the monarch's voice fell, the tens of thousands of ultimate esoteric laws that the four had prepared suddenly shattered the sky and charged toward Qin Feiyang and the others. Behind them, the source energy roared like a ferocious beast. In front, tens of thousands of ultimate esoteric laws were enough to destroy the world. The situation that Qin Feiyang and the others were facing now was that there was a wolf in front and a tiger behind. We have already come this far, there is no reason to back down. Besides, even if we back down, we will still die. The power of origin is much more powerful than their ultimate esoteric laws. The lunatic gritted his teeth, took a step forward, and instantly arrived in the sky above the divine kingdom. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other, then rushed out of the crack and landed beside the lunatic. Behind them was a huge stone door. The crack they tore open was right in the center of the stone door. This was the other side of the door of the divine kingdom. However, even if they successfully entered the divine kingdom, the power of origin did not let them go. It turned into a raging wave and surged out from the stone door, drowning them. We have already left the passage, but it still controls the power of origin to kill us. This is a bit too much. The young man murmured. Oh. Chapter 40-49. The young man's voice was not very loud. But every word he said fell clearly in the minds of the king and the other three. Even the ruler of the divine kingdom standing at the top of the sky heard it clearly. Although the tone was very calm, they could hear a shocking sharpness. All of a sudden, the young man raised his head to look at the top of the sky, and the appearance of yawning instantly disappeared. At this moment, his body was straight, and his eyes were like torches, as if a god had returned. One look from him made the ruler of the divine kingdom at the top of the sky tremble involuntarily. He could actually detect his presence. And he could even accurately lock on to his position. One had to know. He was the ruler of the divine kingdom. He represented the will of the heavenly way. As long as he did not take the initiative to show himself, no one would be able to discover his traces. But this young man in front of him could actually find him. It was really unbelievable. But he did not know. What happened next was even more shocking to him. The green foxtail grass in the young man's mouth suddenly rose into the air and exploded into a dazzling divine light. Following closely, a magnificent force burst out from the ground. Under this force, the world in front of him trembled. Because this force contained a terrifying will of the heavens. It was as if the young man had incarnated into the will of the heavenly way at this moment. What? The ruler of the divine kingdom at the top of the sky suddenly changed his expression. The pupils of Qin Feiyang and the others suddenly shrank because they were too familiar with this aura. This was also the power of origin. That's right. The force that rushed out of the green foxtail grass was the power of origin. Could it be, that there was also an independent world hidden in the green foxtail grass. But how was this possible? The Great Qin, the Forgotten Continent, the third level of the miracle, the ancient realm, the sky cloud realm. They had explored so many places and only found the Black Tortoise realm. Moreover, other than Qin Feiyang, they had never seen anyone who had an independent world. The most terrifying thing was, the power of origin summoned by the young man seemed to be several levels stronger than the power of origin of the divine kingdom. This power of origin did not attack the monarch's ultimate meaning, nor did it attack the power of origin surging out of the stone door. Instead, it formed a barrier that enveloped Qin Feiyang and the others. Rumble. The ultimate intent at the front and the origin energy at the back crashed into the barrier at almost the same time. At this moment, Qin Feiyang and the others' hearts were in their throats. One had to know. The monarch and the others not only possessed a large number of ultimates, but they also possessed the will of the heavens. The power of the origin of the divine kingdom was even more terrifying. Even with the young man's sore strength, he would not be able to withstand such terrifying attacks that were directed at the barrier at the same time. But what shocked them was that no matter if it was ultimate intent or origin energy, they didn't cause any damage to the barrier when they struck it. In fact, the barrier didn't even tremble. Like a boulder, it was indestructible. This your sister is too strong. The frenzy, the white-eyed wolf, and Long Qin were all dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang and Long Chen looked at each other, and their hearts were also in turmoil. Just one power of origin was able to block so many ultimate intents and the power of origin of the divine kingdom. Just how terrifying was the young man's quintessence energy. At the same time, the monarch and the others stared at the barrier around Qin Feiyang and the others, and their eyes were trembling. The dominator of the divine kingdom at the top of the sky was also in disbelief. A single strand of origin energy was actually this powerful. Was this really a power that a junior could master? I rarely get angry, but this time, I'm really angry. If I get angry, you'll be in trouble. The young man's eyes were still locked on the top of the sky. As soon as he finished speaking, the barrier exploded with an apocalyptic might. It instantly shattered all the ultimate mysteries and origin energy. Then, it collapsed and turned into a 3-meter-long sword. It slashed towards the top of the sky with an apocalyptic sharpness. Humph! At the top of the sky, the dominator of the divine kingdom snorted coldly. Immediately, endless power of origin poured out like a waterfall, drowning the sky for thousands of miles, shocking the world. Boom! The sword shot into the sky, and the power of origin that poured down was immediately split open. It was unable to stop it at all, and it went straight to the top of the sky. Ah, the next moment, a blood-curdling scream rang out in the sky. Immediately after, a bloody arm fell down from the sky, bringing with it a pool of blood. What? The dominator's arm was cut off. The monarch and the others were shocked. This was a dream. The dominator of a world was injured. They had known each other for so many years, but they had never seen anyone who could hurt the dominator in the slightest. Needless to say, Qin Feiyang and the others. The shock in their hearts could not be described with words. Too strong. He was simply a godlike figure. Qin Batian, who the hell are you? At the top of the sky. The dominator of the divine kingdom roared angrily. Are you an idiot? Since I'm Qin Batian, then I'm naturally the son of the princess of the divine kingdom. Of course, I'm also the grandson of the monarch. The young man sneered, looked down at the monarch, and said jokingly, "Grandfather, what do you think?" Hearing the word grandfather, the monarch's heart was in turmoil, and he could not calm down. He did not doubt the young man's identity. Because the 3,000 incarnations were the best proof. And Qin Feiyang and the others did not refute. This meant that the young man in front of them was indeed the son of the emperor and his daughter. But It was hard to imagine that a junior not only had the ultimate profundity of 6 supreme laws, but also had such a terrifying origin power. The young man then looked at Heavenly Lord Ji and bared his teeth. I should also call you uncle. Heaven Lord Ji's heart was in turmoil when he heard the word uncle. Of course, he knew the young man's strength best. Because in the Western continent, the young man had fought with him for thousands of times. Even if he did not use his origin power, his strength was not weaker than his. To be honest, he was very happy to have such a nephew. But more than that, he was shocked. Just as the monarch thought, how could a junior have such a heaven-defying method? Origin power, only the dominator of the world had the ability to control it. Was there really an independent world hidden in that dog's tail? And a world even bigger than the divine kingdom? Boom! At this moment, at the top of the sky, wisps of origin force appeared once again. The young man raised his eyebrows, looked up at the top of the sky, and said, "Do you still want to attack? Don't forget that you've already broken your promise." At the same time, he transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang and the others, "Get ready to run for your life. Run for our life." Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned. He had already cut off an arm of the dominator of the divine kingdom. Did he still need to run for his life? Cough, cough. Don't have too much hope for me. I only have one source of origin power. I've already consumed it by cutting off his arm. I thought I could intimidate him, but now it seems that I have angered him instead. The young man thought. It can't be. Only one source of origin power? Don't joke with us at this time. Frenzy transmitted his voice. Do I look like I'm joking with you? The young man smiled bitterly. Frenzy looked at the young man's expression, and his heart sank to the bottom. Long Chen's eyes also sank slightly, and he transmitted his voice, "We can't run now, because once we run, he will know that we have no other means." That's right. We must stay calm. Let's see if he dares to make a move. Qin Feiyang also said secretly. He raised his head to look at the top of the sky and said, "Back then, when I fought with the monarch, you personally promised that you would not interfere in the war between the Sky Cloud Realm and Scandinavia for 10,000 years. What? As the dominator of the divine kingdom, do you really want to be a villain who goes back on his words?" But the dominator of the divine kingdom turned a deaf ear. The source of origin power surged in the sky, brewing an even more terrifying killing move. Long Chen shouted, "If you really dare to make a move, I will call Ice Dragon and the heaven-swallowing beast over." Huh, you want to use them to scare this sovereign? Don't forget, you are now in the divine kingdom. Even if you have established a contract bridge with them, you can't contact them now. The dominator of the divine kingdom sneered. Is that so? Long Chen raised his arm, and a token appeared. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at the token and couldn't help but be stunned. This was given to us by Ice Dragon. He said that as long as we are in danger, we can crush this token. No matter where we are, he will be able to detect us immediately. Of course. If you are confident that you can block Ice Dragon and the heaven-swallowing beast, then you can ignore it. Long Chen sneered. Swish. In an instant, Qin Feiyang and the rest, as well as the king's gaze, fell on the token in Long Chen's hand. Although it is fake, be confident. Long Chen secretly said. Fake. Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned. Was there a mistake? Seeing Long Chen speak so seriously, they really believed it. At that moment, they looked at the top of the sky with incomparably calm expressions. Who didn't know how to act? At the top of the sky, the dominator of the divine kingdom also stared at the token in Long Chen's hand, his eyes full of fear. Moreover, he could keenly sense that there was indeed Ice Dragon's aura in this token. Damn it, why do you keep haunting me? There was a trace of anger in his expression, and he said in a deep voice, I did promise that I would not intervene in the battle between the Sky Cloud Realm and the Divine Kingdom, but now, you have already killed your way to the Divine Kingdom." But before he finished speaking, Long Chen disdainfully said, "You want to break your promise by killing your way to the Divine Kingdom? When you killed your way to our Sky Cloud Realm, what did we say? Is it true that only the officials are allowed to set fires, but the common people are not allowed to light lamps?" The dominator of the Divine Kingdom was incomparably annoyed, and coldly snorted, "Fine, within 10,000 years, I will not intervene. You all take care of yourselves." After saying that, he disappeared without a trace. The surging origin power in the sky also dissipated. Qin Feiyang and the others watched this scene and couldn't help but secretly let out a long breath. They finally suppressed the dominator of the Divine Kingdom. However, the crisis didn't seem to be over. The monarch, Heavenly Lord Ji, the Divine King, and the supremes of the human race were still here. Chapter 40-50. Qin Feiyang could fight against the king. The young man could fight against Heavenly Lord Ji. But Long Qin, Long Chen, Frenzy, and White-Eyed Wolf hadn't merged with the will of heaven. Even if they joined forces, they wouldn't be able to defeat the Celestials, let alone the Divine King. The White-Eyed Wolf said, "Long Qin, look at how dangerous our situation is. Why don't you help us break the seal?" "No. This is my principle." Long Qin thought. The White-Eyed Wolf was furious. "Don't think about it now. Run." Long Chen put away the token and said, "Run." Qin Feiyang frowned and thought, "We haven't suppressed the gate of the Divine Kingdom yet. If we run away now, they might run to the Sky Cloud Realm. Then destroy it." Long Chen said. "That's the only way. Attack!" Qin Feiyang shouted. Except for the young man, the others all activated their ultimate ultimacy and attacked the stone gate behind them. The king and the other three were stunned. They wanted to destroy the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Boom! Heavenly Lord Ji took a step forward and charged towards Qin Feiyang and the others with his 3,000 incarnations. "Uncle, the last battle hasn't ended yet." The young man acted like he hadn't woken up yet again. He activated his 3,000 incarnations and charged towards Heavenly Lord Ji. "Fine. Then let me see how powerful your nephew is." Heavenly Lord Ji's eyes turned cold. Boom! The two immediately clashed and charged into the sky. Qin Feiyang immediately stopped and turned to face the king and the others. He said to Frenzy and the others without looking back, "Hurry up." Before his voice died away, 3,000 incarnations appeared and activated the ultimate ultimacy of the law of life and death, the law of death, and the law of karma at the same time. Opposite. The king and the others looked at each other. All the ultimate ultimacies appeared and charged forward with the will of heaven. At this moment, Madman and the others also attacked the stone door. However, at this moment, rays of dazzling divine light appeared on the stone door. The ultimate intent of the mad scientists group hit the stone door, but it didn't even budge. How is this possible? Long Qin was shocked. Just as little Qin Zi said, after the princess of the Divine Kingdom destroyed the gate of the Divine Kingdom last time, the enemy increased the strength of the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Madman's expression darkened. So what? Long Qin asked. Boom! Qin Feiyang and the monarch's trio had also clashed. Destructive fluctuations erupted like a volcano. Frenzy and the others quickly hid behind the stone door. "I have to think of something quickly," the White-Eyed Wolf urged. "Watch me." Frenzy made up his mind and instantly turned into a giant. The White-Eyed Wolf and Long Qin quickly retreated and looked at Frenzy in surprise. Frenzy bent down, grabbed the stone door with both hands, and roared, "Get up!" In an instant, his veins bulged. He used all of his strength to forcibly pull the stone door up from the ground. That works too. The white-eyed wolf and Long Qin were dumbfounded. It was really simple and violent. Let's go. Madman roared, carried the stone door, turned around, and ran. The white-eyed wolf and Long Qin Zi looked at each other and hurriedly followed to help suppress the stone door. Because the stone door was struggling. Seeing this, the young man and Qin Feiyang immediately turned around and chased after Frenzy and the others without looking back. Uncle, let's fight again next time. The young man chuckled. Heavenly Lord Ji was so angry that he activated the moment of time and chased after them. The monarch's trio didn't dare to be negligent. They had to take back the gate of the Divine Kingdom, or they would be in a passive situation. What the hell is this place? There's not even a living creature. Half an hour later. The chase was still going on. The white-eyed wolf scanned the ground in front of him and frowned. It had been so long, but he still hadn't seen a single living creature. Not only were there no living creatures, but there wasn't even a single blade of grass. They couldn't help but wonder if they'd entered an illusion. But Qin Feiyang used the eye of life and death to see that there was no illusion here. Look! There are trees in front. Suddenly, Long Qin pointed to the mountains in front of them. Qin Feiyang and the others looked up. Indeed, in the mountains hundreds of thousands of miles away, they saw towering trees and beasts. Clouds and mist lingered in the mountains. If the area they were in at this moment was purgatory, then outside was paradise. Furthermore, the sky was clear and boundless. Long Chen scanned his surroundings and muttered, "This might be a forbidden area, so not a single blade of grass grows. It's very similar to the entrance to the ancient world." The white-eyed wolf nodded. Because the entrance to the ancient world was also a land of death. While they were talking, they had already crossed hundreds of thousands of miles and arrived above the verdant mountains. The warm sunlight shone down, making people feel as if they were sitting in a spring breeze. Moreover, the clouds and mist in the mountains were all formed from essence qi. Just the essence qi that enveloped this place far surpassed the sky cloud realm. It was no wonder that Ryuko and the others would look down on the sky cloud realm so much. They had the capital to do so. The human sovereign martial artist shouted, "Qin Feiyang, quickly stop. You want us to stop, so we'll stop. Giving you so much face. If you have the ability, then come and chase us. Anyway, we're in the Divine Kingdom now. We're not afraid of a fierce battle with you." The white-eyed wolf laughed. In the past, they had to worry about the safety of living creatures in the sky cloud realm, so they tried their best to avoid colliding with the Divine Kingdom. But it was different now. Now that they had entered the Divine Kingdom, it didn't matter even if the people were in a terrible situation. So now, the ones who should be worried were the monarch and the others. Who are they? They're actually carrying the gate of the Divine Kingdom. Look, the people behind them are the monarch, the Divine King, the human sovereign, and Lord Ji Tianjun. They're actually chasing after these young people in person. Are you kidding me? When Qin Feiyang and the others rushed out of this forbidden area, it quickly caused a sensation. The birds and beasts they encountered along the way were all shocked to the extreme. Although the names of Qin Feiyang and the others might have spread throughout the Divine Kingdom, not many people knew what they looked like. And the birds and beasts in the world usually stayed in their own nests and wouldn't leave unless there were special circumstances. So they didn't know what Qin Feiyang and the others looked like. So at this moment, seeing Qin Feiyang and the others carrying the stone gate and the monarch and the others following closely behind, their hearts were full of doubts. Roar! Suddenly, a giant beast hundreds of feet long roared out from the mountains and blocked the path of Qin Feiyang and the others. Where did this little worm come from? Get lost with me! Lunatic shouted. A surge of the power of all evil surged out. The giant beast's strength wasn't weak either. It had mastered an ordinary ultimate profound, but it was instantly killed by the power of all evil. Not even its bones were left. What kind of power is this? It's too terrifying. Originally, there were many ferocious beasts that wanted to run over to intercept them, but when they saw this scene, they immediately fled in panic. Behind, the monarch and the others couldn't help but frown. If they were in the forbidden area, they could still boldly attack. But now that they were in the outside world, they didn't consider the impact of the battle. For experts at their level, blood would flow like a river whenever they fought. We can't let them enter the city in front. Otherwise, once we attack, there will be countless casualties. The human sovereign said in a deep voice. That's right. In the past, we could be unscrupulous in the sky cloud realm, but now that they have come to our divine kingdom, we must act cautiously. The divine king also nodded in agreement. At this moment, Qin Feiyang and the others also saw the city in front. The scale of the city was at least tens of thousands of miles. The walls on all sides were towering like mountains, exuding an ancient aura. Still chasing. Long Qin looked at the four people from the divine kingdom behind her, and a trace of fierceness suddenly crept up between her brows. Boom! She activated 3 ultimate profound, and with a terrifying divine might, she blasted toward the city. What? The monarch and the others' faces changed. Don't you people from the divine kingdom like to massacre cities? Then this young lady will also have a taste of what it feels like to massacre a city. Long Qin smiled sinisterly. However, just as the 3 ultimate profundities were about to reach the city, 3 figures appeared on the city wall and unleashed their strongest ultimate profundities to block Long Qin's 3 ultimate profundities. No way! Long Qin's pupils shrank. In such a remote city, there were actually 3 powerhouses who had grasped the ultimate profundities of the strongest laws. How dare you! After blocking Long Qin's ultimate profound, the 3 of them roared and took a step forward. Their aura roared in all directions as they charged toward Qin Feiyang and the others. Back off! The human sovereign saw this and hurriedly shouted. Sovereign! The 3 of them were stunned. Their eyes looked past Qin Feiyang and the others to the monarch and the others behind them. What? Monarch, Divine King, Lord Ji Tianjun. What's going on? Why are the 4 of them all here? Could it be that they are chasing after those young people in front of them? At the thought of this, the 3 of them couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. To be chased by the monarch and the others and still be able to escape from the forbidden zone, how could they be simple people? Without thinking, they slammed on the brakes and quickly retreated to the side. After offending us, you still want to run? The madman flew over and sneered. He raised the gate of the divine kingdom and smashed it toward the 3 of them like a brick. This is, the gate of the divine kingdom. In fact, one of them exclaimed. Ah, the next moment. 3 screams sounded. The 3 of them were smashed on the spot, and blood stained the sky. No way. He killed them just like that. The people in the city couldn't help but shudder when they saw this scene. You guys, quickly leave the city. The human sovereign roared anxiously. His words woke everyone up from their dreams. The people in the city swarmed out of the city like a swarm of bees. Qin Feiyang and the others flew into the sky above the city. The madman's eyes were overflowing with blood as he blasted down with the power of all evil. Accompanied by a loud bang, the entire city was instantly turned into ashes, and countless people who fled were killed or injured. You guys are simply insane. The human sovereign roared. Huh, we are insane. When you guys killed the creatures of the sky cloud realm and the underworld king's hell, weren't you insane? I am just giving you a taste of your own medicine. Now you know the pain, right? Your mood now is the mood of our sky cloud realm's billions of creatures at that time. Don't worry, the good show is yet to come. If I don't slaughter all the cities of your divine kingdom, I swear I will not stop. The madman laughed wildly. Chapter 40-51. Sky Cloud Realm. What do you mean? Could they be from the Sky Cloud Realm? Those who escaped couldn't help but be surprised when they heard Madman's words. Didn't they say that the Sky Cloud Realm was very weak? How dare they come to the divine kingdom so blatantly? At the same time, hearing Madman's clamor, the faces of the monarch and the other three turned pale. With the hatred of the Sky Cloud Realm for the divine kingdom, this madman might really do it. The monarch's eyes flashed as he decisively made a decision. Looking at the divine king and the human race's supreme, he said in a deep voice, "Heaven Lord G and I will continue to pursue. You two split up and gather the powerhouses of the various races to encircle them. Is there a need to mobilize so many people?" Heaven Lord G frowned. "Don't underestimate them. If they keep avoiding the battle, we can't do anything to them. At that time, the divine kingdom will definitely be in chaos because of them. We must encircle them as soon as possible. No matter how bad it is, we must force them back to the Sky Cloud Realm." After the monarch finished speaking, he looked at the divine king and Heaven Lord G and said, "Go." "Okay." The two nodded, opened a space-time passage, and left. The divine king and the human race's supreme left. What do they want to do? Seeing this scene, the white-eyed wolf's eyes suddenly had a trace of doubt. They left? Madman was slightly taken aback. He turned his head and saw that they were really gone. Long Chen frowned and said, "As expected, they should be gathering the powerhouses of the divine kingdom to encircle us." Hearing this, Long Chen's face turned pale, and she said worriedly, "Just the four of them, we have no way to deal with them. If the older generation figures of the Scandinavia all come here, then do we still have a way to survive? There's no need to think about it. There's definitely no way to survive." Long Chen shook his head. "So we must escape as soon as possible, change our appearances, and hide first. When you all have merged with the will of the heavenly Tao, we can fight head-on." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. "They are chasing us like this, how can we escape?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. "We can escape. The departure of the autarch of the human race and the divine king has created an opportunity for us." Qin Feiyang nodded. He looked at the young man and said, "Little brother, you stay outside and stall for a while." Before the young man could react, Qin Feiyang led Feng Zi and the others into the Black Tortoise world. The young man was stunned and said angrily, "What kind of joke is this? How can I possibly hold on?" But there was no other way. Now, he could only brace himself. Black Tortoise World. Above the blood sea of the western regions. Now that Qin Feiyang no longer activated the slaughter domain, no one came to donate blood. The entire western region was deathly silent. Activate your ultimate meaning. Qin Feiyang activated his 3,000 incarnations and looked at Long Qin and the others. They immediately knew what Qin Feiyang was going to do. All sorts of ultimate mysteries appeared. As for the 3,000 clones, they immediately activated the Eye of Heaven and began to copy their ultimate intent. How do we deal with this thing? Feng Zi pressed hard on the struggling stone door. If we can't destroy it, we can only seal it. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The law of life and death, karma, and death appeared. Seeing this, Feng Zi, White-Eyed Wolf, Long Qin, and Long Chen also mobilized their ultimate meaning. Immediately, more than a dozen ultimate meanings surged toward the stone door. Can we seal it like this? Long Qin couldn't help but frown. This stone door seemed to be unimaginably powerful. As long as the sovereign of the divine kingdom doesn't make a move, there shouldn't be a problem. Besides, our Black Tortoise world also has origin energy. Although it can't be compared to the divine kingdom, it shouldn't be a problem to suppress it. After Qin Feiyang said that, he looked up at the sky and roared, "Brat, come out for a while." Swoosh! After a while, Brat appeared, but when he saw the door of the Divine Kingdom, his face suddenly changed and he said angrily, "Why did you bring this thing in? Can you suppress it?" Qin Feiyang asked. Suppressing it is possible. However, this will consume a lot of origin energy, Brat frowned. The current Black Tortoise world's origin energy wasn't even enough for those heaven-defying artifacts and sovereign weapons to absorb. How could there be any left to suppress the door of the Divine Kingdom? But this door of the Divine Kingdom, we have to suppress it. White-Eyed Wolf said. Brat pondered for a while, looked at them and said, "I can help suppress it, but you have to find a way to get me some spirit veins and crystal veins as soon as possible, the more the better." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. "This isn't a problem at all now. The Divine Kingdom is so big, do you still lack spirit veins and crystal veins?" Madman snickered. In the past, in the Sky Cloud world, they didn't snatch the spirit veins and crystal veins because the various forces in the Sky Cloud world were now in a group. For example, the three major races. With the relationship between Long Chen, Qi Xiaoyun, and Fire Dance, they couldn't snatch it. But it was different now. They were now in the Divine Kingdom. And judging from the previous situation, there must be countless spirit veins and crystal veins in the Divine Kingdom. With their current methods, they could obtain a large number of spirit veins and crystal veins with just a flick of their fingers. Brat said, "Then you guys seal it first. After sealing it, I will bring it to the land of origin. By the way, where is the other half of the door of the Divine Kingdom?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and said, "It's still in the Sky Cloud world." "Wait. If someone enters the Divine Kingdom from the Sky Cloud world now, will they be directly teleported to the Black Tortoise world?" White-Eyed Wolf asked. "No. As long as it is sealed, the transmission of the door of the Divine Kingdom will be cut off." Brat shook his head. "That's good." White-Eyed Wolf nodded. The seal was soon completed, and Brat brought the door of the Divine Kingdom into the land of origin. And at this time, the 3,000 clones also assisted Long Chen and the others with their ultimate mysteries. But the next moment, Qin Feiyang furrowed his brows. "What's wrong?" Long Chen was suspicious. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "I wanted to integrate the will of the Heavenly Tao, but I found that the will of the Heavenly Tao can't be integrated with your ultimate mysteries." "Isn't that nonsense? None of us have mastered the will of the Heavenly Tao. And how can a clone integrate the will of the Heavenly Tao?" Madman rolled his eyes at him. "Although the clone doesn't have the will of the Heavenly Tao, your ultimate mysteries have it, so it doesn't matter much." "Yes. It won't be a problem to force the Monarch and Heavenly Lord Ji to retreat. After all, you and that young man are strong enough to defeat them, not to mention now that you have tens of thousands of ultimate mysteries." Long Chen and White-Eyed Wolf spoke one after another. "Okay. Long Chen, come out with me. You guys wait here." Qin Feiyang then swept up Long Chen and the 3,000 clones and immediately appeared outside. One day outside was 5,000 years in the Black Tortoise world. Although a long time had passed in the Black Tortoise world, it was only a moment outside. The battle between the young man and the monarch had just begun. However, even if it had just begun, the young man still looked quite embarrassed. So fast. The young man was stunned. "Is your array just a decoration?" Qin Feiyang waved his hand and turned to look at the monarch and Heavenly Lord Ji. "Why don't the two of you work with us to overthrow the overlord's rule and return freedom to the people of the Divine Kingdom?" As he spoke, the 3,000 clones also activated the three ultimate mysteries of death, life and death, and karma. The will of the Heavenly Tao exploded and a destructive aura shattered in all directions. The monarch and Heavenly Lord Ji's pupils immediately shrank. They never thought that Qin Fei Yang would say something like that. Although you look down on humans like me who have the purple golden dragon blood, blood is thicker than water after all. We really shouldn't harm each other. I can also see that you're doing this because you have no other choice. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you through voice transmission. So, let's work together. Not only are you helping us, but we're also helping you. Qin Fei Yang thought. You're too naive. If it weren't for the ice dragon and the sky-swallowing beast, do you think you'd still have the chance to talk about cooperation with us? You'd have died in the hands of the Overlord. Your wisest choice is to leave the Divine Kingdom immediately. The monarch said coldly. Looks like there's no room for negotiation. Qin Fei Yang shook his head regretfully. His eyes immediately became fierce. Then let's see who's the real deal. Boom! The 3,000 clones waved their hands and the ultimate mysteries instantly covered the sky and the earth. There were tens of thousands of ultimate mysteries. Moreover, Qin Fei Yang's 3 ultimate mysteries all contained the will of the heavenly Tao. In addition, the ultimate mysteries activated by the 3,000 clones of the young man. What kind of scene would that be? Even the monarch and heavenly Lord Ji together couldn't stop it. The two of them kept retreating and they looked extremely miserable. We'll meet again someday. Qin Fei Yang said to the two of them and then looked at Long Chen. Long Chen immediately took Qin Fei Yang and the young man with him and activated the momentary time and escaped without looking back. The monarch and heavenly Lord Ji wanted to stop them, but they couldn't break through the ultimate mysteries in front of them. No. In the face of these ultimate mysteries, they could only retreat. Moreover, they still had to seal the battle waves here. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable once it spread. Let's solve the problem in front of us first. The monarch sighed inwardly. Then how should we explain it to the Lord? Heavenly Lord Ji thought. Just tell us the truth. Hurry up and seal the battle waves. Otherwise, the consequences will be even worse. The monarch said in a low voice. On the other hand, Qin Fei Yang and the others dashed all along the way, and they successively changed a few directions during this period of time before they stopped and descended on the peak of an enormous mountain that was 3 kilometers tall. Finally, we got rid of them. Long Chen heaved a sigh of relief. Yeah. Qin Fei Yang turned his head to look behind him and nodded with a smile. It wasn't easy. He didn't expect to experience such a risk when he just arrived at the Divine Kingdom. It was really exciting. Humph. I still remember what happened before. The young man took a divine life pill and looked at Qin Fei Yang with an unfriendly gaze. Why are you so stingy? You were the only one who had the ability to stall them. Besides, if I wasn't confident, I wouldn't have left you alone outside. Qin Fei Yang smiled bitterly. He didn't expect him to be such a hateful person. The young man stared at Qin Fei Yang angrily. How dare he call him stingy? Okay, I'll apologize, okay. It won't happen again. Qin Fei Yang smiled apologetically. Right now, she could leave anyone but this young man. The young man pursed his lips and looked up at the sky. Oh. He said worriedly, it's still too early to talk about escaping. What do you mean? The two of them were surprised. Aren't you the Lord of the Black Tortoise Realm? Why do you need to ask me? The young man glanced at him. Qin Fei Yang frowned. Suddenly, he thought of something and his eyes trembled. That's right. They weren't escaping yet. Because there was still the Lord of the Divine Kingdom. As the Lord of the Divine Kingdom, as long as he wanted to, no one in the Divine Kingdom could escape his prying eyes. Perhaps the ruler of the theocracy was spying on them from somewhere at this very moment. If that was the case, no matter how they hid or changed their appearances, they couldn't escape the monarch's encirclement. Because the Lord of the Divine Kingdom could secretly tell their location to the monarch at any time, you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.